Chapter 392. The Void World King? What was that? What was the first generation nature-defying? Was this old man an ancient corpse from 10,000 years ago? This was too terrifying. Ninth Saint Master. Ninth Saint Master. The ancient corpse, the first generation heaven-defying lord, had his eyes and mouth closed, but a mighty voice rang out. Suyu was shocked. That was the voice of the soul. Since you're dead, why come out into the world? The ninth Saint Lord turned around to face the Void World King. That's your final destination. As the two faced each other, a destructive aura swept toward them. Lord Shen Ying and the others were like mortals in the midst of a tsunami. Quick, leave. Lord Shen Ying growled. The battle between two gods was not something they could participate in. Swish, swish. The ninth Saint Master didn't have the time to care about the Void World King's corpse. Bang! Lord Shen Ying and the others fled for tens of thousands of miles. A destructive wave of air came from behind him, spreading out in a radiating manner. The mountains and rivers were destroyed, and all living beings were wiped out. It was a scene of desolation and scorched ruins. Puff! The two inspectors were annihilated. Ling Xiaotian spat out blood and flew backward. Lord Shen Ying let out a groan. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and his face was pale. The shockwaves from tens of thousands of miles away had such destructive power. How terrifying was the center of their battle. Welcome, Lord Shen Ying. All of a sudden, a group of red-clothed guards flew out from the forest. They rushed over in bewilderment. After sizing up the group of people and escorting Ling Xiaotian, they knelt on the ground and respectfully welcomed them. Shen Ying's face darkened. He had indeed been discovered. Ling Xiaotian could no longer be killed. Suppressing his murderous intent, Lord Shen Ying looked behind him in fear and anxiously said, "Leave quickly." Half a day later, amidst the charred ruins, the Void World King, the first-generation heaven-defying lord, stood quietly in the middle of the ruins. The ninth Saint Master was nowhere to be seen. Buzz, buzz, buzz. All of a sudden, a colossal object appeared out of thin air. It was an ancient battleship that was hundreds of thousands of miles long. It was a dark mass that seemed to blot out the sky. Heaven and earth turned dark. Its huge body was like an island in the middle of the ocean. What was different was that this warship was floating in the air. Whoosh! At the bottom of the battleship, a light flashed and several figures descended. Zi Donglai, Lin Yunhe, and a middle-aged man with a sallow face. Behind them were several other youngsters. Zhong Luan, Jiang Mufei, and Zi Yunxiang. Thank you for your help, World King. Please return to your position. Everyone bowed towards the ancient corpse. Whoosh! The corpse disappeared and entered the warship. The Realm King has returned to guard the divine warship in the sky and protect the people of the continent. It is truly a blessing for the continent. The yellow-faced middle-aged man sighed. Lin Yunhe had a worried look on his face. The Zhenlong continent has been through many calamities, but the Realm King has never appeared. Why did he only appear during this calamity? I'm worried that this calamity will be comparable to an eternal calamity. These words caused the atmosphere to suddenly become heavy. For a world king to die and appear in the world meant that a great calamity would descend. 10,000 years ago, the world king died in battle. 10,000 years later, how could a remnant soul protect the continent? Compared to their judgment of the catastrophe, Zi Yunxiang was anxious. Father, where is Yin Yu? Amidst the anxiety, one could see a tinge of sadness. Zhong Luan also had a look of shame. The Phoenix Cabinet is facing a calamity. My abilities are weak, and I was unable to turn the tide. Seeing Yin Yu being taken away, I cannot escape the blame. If Suyu were here, he would understand why Zhong Luan and Jiang Mufei would appear at the Phoenix meet after being placed under house arrest, taking the initiative to fight for glory for the Shintian Manor. They were at the Phoenix Cabinet, looking for Zi Donglai. And Zi Yunxiang had found Zi Donglai as she had wished. We are too late, Zi Donglai sighed. The The Phoenix Cabinet is facing a calamity. The divine warship in the sky is too late. From the battle just now, it seems that Lord Shen Ying has already taken Ling Xiaotian away. But we did not see Su Yu. Zi Donglai did not finish his sentence. He turned around and patted Zi Yunxiang's shoulder, letting out a long sigh. Remember this kindness for the rest of your life. Su Yu was already in a state of incurable injury at the Phoenix Cabinet. After half a month, his life force had already been extinguished. No! Zi Yunxiang was grief-stricken. Her heart was torn. The farewell at the Phoenix Fort, a smile at each other, was their final farewell. She still had many things she wanted to say, many favors to repay, many unfinished friendships. Unable to accept the reality of Su Yu's death, Zi Yunxiang's vision turned black, and she fainted on the spot. Zi Donglai's heart stirred, and he helped Zi Yunxiang up. Lin Yunhe's face was filled with nostalgia, sighing. We have been apart for many years, and we are now separated by the Yellow Springs. I wanted to ask him to reconsider and enter the path of craftsmanship. A shred of loneliness and sorrow appeared on his aged face. The yellow-faced middle-aged man sighed. It is indeed a pity. A nature-defying genius has fallen just like that. It is a pity. Suddenly, the yellow-faced middle-aged man said curiously, however, his background is indeed thought-provoking. Xunyue Island is where the 9 great dragon veins of the Zhenlong continent are located. For such a nature-defying genius to be born there is unimaginable. Su Yu's background had already been investigated by the Heavenly Law Alliance. Zi Donglai was also at a loss. That's right. Who would have thought that Yin was a disciple of an unknown faction in the 100 Territories Alliance? Zhong Luan was filled with admiration. I have been taught by the housemaster since I was young, but I am not as strong as the disciples of the ocean, a place where even holy kings cannot be born. I have let you down. Regarding this, Zi Donglai shook his head. It is fate. It cannot be forced. Yin no, Su Yu is dead. Let's announce it to the world. Even if the legendary king of the North Continent is dead, he should not be buried in the dust. Even if he died, he should be given the status he deserved. Central Continent Center. Grand buildings stretched for hundreds of thousands of miles. Millions of fighters were gathered there. Countless elites and powerful fighters were gathered there. A towering mountain pierced through the clouds. Countless majestic buildings surrounded the giant mountain, like stars surrounding the moon. There was no one who wasn't in awe of him. That was the symbol of the Empire of Darkness, the first peak of the continent. That was the divine peak that was closest to the endless 9 heavens. Standing on it, one could overlook the Zhenlong continent and the endless ocean. That was the headquarters of the Empire of Darkness, the strongest place in the Zhenlong continent. The 8 great ancient clans did not dare defy it. Outside the mountain, there were many fighters. There were as many as 10 heaven masters secretly monitoring suspicious people. No one in the continent could compare to the security of the guards. They stepped into the mountain. A bright path stretched for hundreds of miles, reaching the depths of the mountain. On both sides of the path, tens of thousands of immortal realm fighters guarded the 2 sides. Welcome, Lord Shen Ying. Welcome, Lord Shen Ying. Everywhere he passed, tens of thousands of people paid their respects, welcoming him. Lords enjoyed endless glory in the Empire of Darkness. They were the most respected people under the king. They entered the depths of the mountain. In a resplendent and magnificent palace, 4 black-robed people and a red-robed youth sat quietly in the palace. They looked down from above, their auras powerful. The 4 black-robed people were all men. The youngest was only 20 years old, and the oldest was only 25. But all of them were Immortal Realm Level 5. 3 of them were Heaven Masters, and 1 was a human king. Such frightening geniuses would be peerless geniuses anywhere on the continent. However, there were 4 people gathered here at the same time. The red-robed youth on the far right was a woman. She wore a phoenix crown on her head, and her red cloak hung elegantly on the ground. She wore a daffodil dress, simple, natural, and elegant. Her figure was elegant, and her lines were beautiful. Her face was covered by a ball of water vapor. It was so dense that it was difficult to see through it. The four black-robed people each had their own auras. Only the woman held an obscure scripture in her hands, quietly reading it. She was focused, and her aura was extraordinary. "Bring Ling Xiaotian here." "Begin the trial," Lord Shen Ying ordered. 6 great lords were interrogating Ling Xiaotian. Shen Ying frowned, glancing at the red-cloaked woman, who was focused on reading the scripture. Although you like to read, this concerns the traitor of the Empire. Put it down first." Shen Ying was still polite to EU. After all, she was the only person who could communicate with the king. He naturally had to show her the respect she deserved. "Haha, Divine Eagle, why do you have to make things difficult for EU? She has a vow to witness the prosperity of the world and the ups and downs. Books are the fastest way to do so. Let her read them. We will discuss it and then let her know." Shen Ying was a little dissatisfied, but he could not do anything. They all knew about EU's oath. She was an extraordinary woman. Her wish was to see all the prosperity and diversity of the continent, and she had made an oath about it. How strange. "All right, begin the trial." Ling Xiaotian disobeyed his superiors, severely injured the inspector, and then participated in the fight for power in the North Continent. His intention to rebel is clear. Shen Ying opened his mouth, and Ling Xiaotian declared him guilty. The few great lords exchanged glances. "Shen Ying, we have sent people to investigate the matter regarding the inspector. As the inspector, he bent the law for personal gain and despicably launched a sneak attack on a vice-palace master. Such actions should be punished. Ling Xiaotian is not at fault for this. We have many witnesses and material evidence." The one who spoke was another human sovereign, the third-ranked Qing Zhu Holy Lord. He had an elegant temperament, and his eyes were filled with wisdom. "Shen Ying?" His expression stiffened and he cursed silently. What a cunning Lord Qing Zhu! While he was trying to capture Ling Xiaotian, they also took action in secret to protect Ling Xiaotian. They understood that they could not let Lord Bai Luo kill Ling Xiaotian. Otherwise, he would be the strongest, and the other great lords would not have a good ending. As for what you said about participating in the fight for power in the continent, do you have witnesses and material evidence? Lord Qing Zhu asked again. Shen Ying was speechless. When the 9th Saint Master arrived, the Phoenix Cabinet Master had disappeared, and the palace garrison divine weapon had been destroyed by the 9th Saint Master. If there is no evidence, relying solely on Shen Ying's judgment would be biased, and it would disappoint the other palace masters. Lord Qing Zhu took each step carefully. Therefore, I feel that whether or not Palace Master Ling betrayed the enemy needs to be considered. We cannot make a rash decision. What do you all think? Lord Qing Zhu asked the other great lords. The few of them naturally followed Lord Qing Zhu and fought against Bai Luo together. Seconded. Finally, it was EU's turn. She came back to her senses from the book, looked at Ling Xiaotian, and nodded her chin. Seconded. They unanimously agreed that he was not guilty. According to the rules of the 7 lords, the minority should obey the majority. Lord Qing Zhu revealed a victorious smile. Shen Ying's expression turned ugly. This group of people. Is that so? Right at this moment, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded out from within the hall. It's Bai Luo. Isn't he in seclusion? Everyone was surprised. Chapter 393. Only an immortal level 5 peak could sense heaven and earth. This realm was the demigod realm that even human kings would shrink back from. At this level, no one in the immortal realm was a match for him. Boom boom. A wave of pressure pressed down on the spot. The few great lords were caught off guard. As if they had been struck by a raging wave, they staggered and fell from the tables and chairs. Only EU remained motionless, surrounded by water vapor. He has broken through to the demigod realm. Lord Qingzhu's expression changed, and he looked terrible. Before this, Bai Luo had only been very close to becoming a half-god. If they combined forces, they could still fight against him. However, he had now become a half-god. Yes, I have broken through. I will now transmit my voice to you from 1,000 miles away. Lord Bai Luo was actually still in seclusion. Lord Qingzhu's expression kept changing. Bai Luo, why did you suddenly send me a message? Yes, of course it's a joint trial. Lord Bai Luo said, from what I see, Ling Xiaotian is indeed suspected of rebelling. If we let him go like this, he might become a disaster. Now that the king is in seclusion, the continent's situation is mysterious and unstable. Even the Heavenly Law Alliance has come to the human world. At this critical juncture, I'd rather kill the wrong person than let him go. Therefore, Ling Xiaotian shall be beheaded for the crime of defection. Deputy Palace Master Yin Yu will be executed for the same crime. Since he has gone missing and his whereabouts are unknown, from today onwards, he will be wanted by the Empire of Darkness. Anyone who finds him can kill him on the spot. Who refused? Lord Qingzhu was secretly furious. 7 lords had worked together, but now, Bai Luo was acting as a ruler and acting on his own. However, thinking back to the terrifying aura just now, Lord Qingzhu pondered for a long time and decided to remain silent. Falling out with Ling Xiaotian just for a single Ling Xiaotian was not worth it. EU, do you have any objections? Bai Luo took the initiative to ask for EU's opinion. EU lowered her head to look at Ling Xiaotian. He has contributed greatly to the empire. Beheading him immediately would be too hurtful. I suggest that we detain him for now and behead him another day. Then we shall do as EU says and execute him another day. Take him away. Very quickly, several heaven masters entered and took Ling Xiaotian away. Ling Xiaotian looked at EU with gratitude. Given the circumstances, it was impossible for EU to save him. Being able to buy more time for him was already the best he could do. Back then, when EU walked out of the North Continent's sub-palace, she was indebted to Ling Xiaotian. Bai Luo said in the manner of a duke, "All right, this matter has come to an end. It ends here. Meeting adjourned." However, EU suddenly said, "There is something that needs to be announced." Everyone looked at her. "Relay the sovereign king's orders." Swish, swish, swish. Everyone, including Lord Shening, knelt down on one knee and listened to the decree. Qila, a beam of light condensed in the palace. It was the form that Bai Luo had condensed with his will, which represented his arrival. However, while everyone else was kneeling, he was the only one standing. EU glanced at him and said, "Relay the king's orders. The heavenly worship ceremony will be held in 3 months. The 7 lords are to make the necessary arrangements." Yes. The 5 lords agreed. Only Lord Bai Luo nodded his head indifferently. Then, he turned into a ray of light and disappeared. At this moment, the entire Zhenlong continent was shaken. There was a huge change in the northern continent. The Phoenix cabinet was eliminated in one night. The disciples fled, and the cabinet master was captured. The northern continent's 3 great superforces, Snow's Lament Tower, 100 Territories Alliance, and Anua City, formed the Northern Continent's alliance. What was even more shocking was that the Yu clan, one of the 8 great ancient clans, had reappeared in the world. The young master, Wu Yaoyue, and the alliance master, the 9th Saint Master, were in charge of the North Continent, overlooking the entire continent. Such news shook everyone's hearts. The power structure of the North Continent, which had existed for hundreds of years, had undergone a huge change for the first time since the King of Darkness had swept through the world. At the same time, at the Phoenix Meet, an unparalleled legendary genius appeared out of nowhere. Yin had defied the heavens, condensed the pure divine decree, and forged the divine eyes of heavens. Using the power of heaven, he had killed the legendary Shen Kong with one look and become an unparalleled genius of the new generation. Then, with his heavily injured body, he had single-handedly defeated the 3 great Heaven Masters, completely exhausting them. Such an impressive battle record shocked everyone. His reputation as a legendary king swept through the continent like a bolt of lightning. The drones would never forget this legendary genius. The last matter was something that everyone was talking about enthusiastically. The Yu clan's young master, Yu Yao, had invited all the heroes of the world to attend his wedding. It was said that the bride was an unknown lady, Mo. As the Yu clan reappeared in the world, the significance of this banquet was obvious. In the Empire of Darkness, the Abyss Prison. This was the dungeon where the Empire of Darkness imprisoned all criminals. It was heavily guarded, and no one could escape from it. Deep within the dungeon, Ling Xiaotian was sealed within the dungeon. It was extremely hard, and even Heaven Masters could not break it. Taking out the Eternal Mask, Ling Xiaotian transferred a shred of spirit energy into it. Su Yu and the Phoenix Cabinet's master had escaped. Su Yu's body gave off a foul stench, while the Phoenix Cabinet's master was still in good condition, but her cultivation level had been crippled. Yin Yu, from now on, do not speak. Time is of the essence. Ling Xiaotian tapped Su Yu's back with his palm. Bolts of red energy entered Su Yu's body. This caused Su Yu's face to gradually turn red, emitting a faint glow. His body was also recovering at a weak speed. This is... The Phoenix Cabinet's master covered her red lips, looking at Ling Xiaotian, her eyes glowing with a complicated glow. There was shock and even more shock. Su Yu said, "Palace Master, what did you give me?" His body, which should have been destroyed long ago, had survived until now. Su Yu had long felt that something was wrong. "You do not need to know," Ling Xiaotian said. "Absorb the energy I gave you with a peace of mind. This is the only thing I can do for you." Su Yu opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but realized that he could not speak. Just like that, 6 hours later, the surface of Su Yu's body emitted a faint blood-red glow. His dead body actually regained a shred of vitality. At that moment, footsteps could be heard outside the dungeon. Su Yu immediately activated the Eternal Mask and re-entered. Her steps were light and she carried a light fragrance. She wore a plum-red cloak. Who else could it be but Lord Yu? "Palace Master Ling, Yu is late." Yu stood at the door, the moisture on her face dissipating. She had a beautiful and ethereal face, like that of a fairy from a painting. Her temperament was tranquil, and her beauty was otherworldly. Ling Xiaotian sighed. "It really is you. You have really become a lord." "Thank you for your recommendation, Palace Master." Yu was grateful. "I was unable to redress your grievances just now. I hope Palace Master will forgive me." Ling Xiaotian shook his head and laughed. "No need to apologize. I understand the power struggle within the Empire better than you do. Bai Luo is the only one in power. If you were to go against him, you would not be of any help. Instead, you would implicate yourself. Don't worry, Palace Master. I will first delay the execution, then think of a way to save you," Yu said. Unexpectedly, Ling Xiaotian rejected her. "No. You have already shown your attitude toward me by delaying the execution. How could Bai Luo not have his guard up against you? In fact, your visit to the prison is within his control. If you cannot save me, you will only implicate yourself." Ling Xiaotian had thought this through thoroughly. How could Yu not understand? "But Palace Master, I know your character. You would never betray the Empire. You have been wronged," Yu said. Ling Xiaotian laughed. "It does not matter. As long as I have a clear conscience." Yu felt apologetic. "The king is in seclusion, and I cannot report your matter. I can only rely on myself." Filled with gratitude, Ling Xiaotian stood up. "There is no need to save me. I have to flee with the name of a traitor. My heart is dead. I only beg of you to help me save 2 people." "Who?" Yu looked around. Ling Xiaotian said, One is Deputy Palace Master Inu, who came to the sub-palace after you. I owe him and only hope that you can quietly let him go. The other is the Phoenix Cabinet's master. Now that her cultivation level has been crippled, I hope that Lord EU can take care of her. Deputy Palace Master Inu? EU frowned. This was the first time she had heard this name, and her heart beat faster. Su-yu, Inu, and EU were only one word apart. Alright. EU agreed. Ling Xiaotian said, if that is the case, I will have no regrets. Give me half a month, and I will have no more worries. EU stubbornly said, I will think of a way to save you. After saying those words, he flew away. The eternal mask shook and Su-yu appeared. He had not dared investigate the outside world to avoid being discovered. Who was here? Su-yu was curious. Ling Xiaotian smiled faintly. Someone who has done me a favor. All right, close your eyes and do not speak. We need to hurry. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Ling Xiaotian became more haggard by the day. His expression was haggard like a mummy. As for Su-yu, his ruined body, which had started to give off a fishy smell, gradually regained its vitality. Now, his flesh was full, and his wounds were gradually healing. Only his internal energy channels were broken, his bones shattered, and his internal organs destroyed. His body still had no feeling. Ling Xiaotian let out a long sigh. Finally, just one step away. Creak! A series of sounds came from outside the door. Lord Shen-ing had personally come. Ling Xiaotian, follow me, Lord Shen-ing said. Today is the day you are to be executed. Ling Xiaotian's expression sank. It is clearly to be executed in a month. Why are you taking action in half a month? Lord Shen-ing let out a laugh. You know why. Was it to prevent any accidents from occurring? Yu's visit to the prison had agitated Bai Luo. Hence, the execution had to be brought forward. Please give me half a day, said Ling Xiaotian. I only need half a day. I still have something to do. Ling Xiaotian was anxious. Su-yu was just one step away from recovery. Lord Shen-ing let out a cold laugh. You are neither a human nor a ghost. You still wish to live in this world? Leave. Opening the prison door, Lord Shen-ing ignored Ling Xiaotian's resistance and captured him alive. Ling Xiaotian's eyes were filled with grief. Just one step. Just one step. Bai Luo had ignored the rules of the Empire of Darkness and executed Su-yu in advance. Was he not afraid of the king coming out of seclusion to settle the score? Lord Shen-ing brought him to a secluded area on the mountain peak. Ling Xiaotian looked around. You wish to execute me in secret? Haha, what else? Did you really think that we would risk universal condemnation and execute you in advance? Lord Shen-ing looked around, letting out a cold laugh. During the interrogation, Ling Xiaotian committed a crime and escaped. According to the law, Lord Shen-ing will execute anyone who escapes. He wanted Ling Xiaotian to bear the crime of breaking out of prison. Under such circumstances, it was reasonable to kill Ling Xiaotian. How dare you? Ling Xiaotian was both shocked and furious. Accept your fate, Ling Xiaotian. Lord Shen-ing let out a cold laugh. Ling Xiaotian was filled with grief and anger. He was going to be killed for no reason under such circumstances. A shred of determination and madness surged around him. Fine, fine, fine. I will use the last of my life to help Inu. I will use my last drop of blood to give him a new future. Chapter 394. The sky is cold and the white bones are frozen, the ghost cries in the yellow springs. Ling Xiaotian suddenly looked up to the sky and sighed. His sigh was filled with desolation. Lord Shen-ying's pupils shrank, and he raised his eyebrows. Among the 8 great ancient clans, this is a slang term for the Ghost Clan. It describes the evilness of the Ghost Clan. Why is he reciting it before his death? Ghost race? Su-yu had heard that it was the most mysterious and terrifying clan among the 8 great ancient clans. Rumor has it that they are the descendants of ghosts. They were born with the bloodline of the evil ghost, and they could devour the essence of humans' flesh and blood to steal their cultivation. The other 7 ancient clans were also extremely fearful. However, the population of the Ghost clan was small, with less than 10 people in each generation. Otherwise, with their method of absorbing the flesh and cultivation of others, they would have long since unified the continent. Suyu repeated this sentence over and over again. The sky was cold and the white bones were frozen, and the howl of ghosts descended upon the yellow springs. The sky was cold and frosty, and the howl of ghosts descended. In the sky, the howl of ghosts descended. Lin Shao Ghost Realm. Lin Xiaotian, Ling Xiaotian. Ghost. Ghouls. Ling Xiaotian, Ghost Clan. Su Yu's heart thumped loudly. King of Darkness, I, Gui Xiaotian, am indebted to you for saving my life back then. I, Gui Xiaotian, will never forget it. Today, I will have to break my promise. Ling Xiaotian knelt on the ground and bowed deeply toward the majestic mountain. Lord Shun Ying narrowed his eyes. Gui Xiaotian? Ghost. A hint of bewilderment flickered in the depths of his eyes. Decades ago, the king, who had never stepped out of the central continent, brought back a young man who was on the verge of death from the border between the central and southern continent. Your surname is Gui. Heavenly frost chills white bones, ghosts howl in the netherworld. Sky howling ghost. As Lord Shen Ying muttered to himself, his expression gradually turned serious. Finally, his eyes were filled with shock. Ghost. Ling Xiaotian. You are from the Ghost Clan. Lord Shen Ying lost his voice in shock. Impossible. The 8 major ancient clans have always been the enemies of the Empire. Why would the Emperor bring you back to the Empire and appoint you as the Hall Master? This is absolutely impossible. Ling Xiaotian's identity as a heavenly ghoul was extremely shocking. Hee. Ling Xiaotian let out a sorrowful laugh, lowering his head to look at Suyu, his expression bitter. I once promised the king that I would never reveal myself to the world, but I am going to break my promise. In the past month, I have already infused the bloodline of the evil ghost into your body. This is the only gift I can give you, and the only future I can give you. Ling Xiaotian condensed a weak blood-red air current on his fingertip and sent it into Su Yu's body. This is the last bit. In the past month, not only had Su Yu not died, but his body had also gradually become more plump. Was all of this because Ling Xiaotian had passed on his bloodline of the evil ghost to Su Yu? Shock, emotion, remorse, and self-blame filled Su Yu's mind. Palace Master, you and I are not related in any way. I cannot inherit your bloodline. Please stop. Su Yu's eyes were filled with anxiety. He wanted to resist, but his body was already crippled. The last bit of blood-red air current entered Su Yu's body. Ling Xiaotian's tired and haggard face revealed a look of relief. Originally, I wanted to use another half a day to completely transform your body into a true ghost. Unfortunately, time waits for no man. I can only use my blood as a sacrifice to activate the bloodline of the evil ghost. According to Ling Xiaotian's plan, Su Yu's body would gradually transform, and he would be able to activate the bloodline on his own, obtaining the talents of the Ghost Clan. Now, he could only use a blood sacrifice to complete it in advance, and the only person who could perform the blood sacrifice at this time was Ling Xiaotian himself. Creak. Ling Xiaotian tore open his arm. Fresh blood flowed, landing on Su Yu's body. A layer of blood-red divine light circled the surface of Su Yu's body, turning the dripping blood into an essence that fused with Su Yu's body. A shocking scene appeared. Within Su Yu's body, the broken bones quickly fused under the nourishment of the essence. In the blink of an eye, a section of the crack disappeared without a trace. Its effect was comparable to the flesh regeneration elixir. No, it was even more violent, faster, and stronger than the power of elixirs. Gurgle. The sound of liquid flowing could suddenly be heard from within Su Yu's body. It was as if the thing that had seized the opportunity had awakened at this moment. Balls of blood-red divine light, visible to the naked eye, seeped into the surface of Su Yu's body, turning into the head of a ferocious ghost. Along with the flowing blood, it wrapped around Ling Xiaotian's bleeding arm. A large amount of fresh blood and flesh was devoured by the ferocious ghost, turning into essence that was sent into Su Yu's body, allowing his body to recover at an alarming speed. Ling Xiaotian's arm withered quickly. His hair rotted, his skin turned dark and his flesh shriveled. In the blink of an eye, his arm turned into a withered branch like a withered leaf. His flesh was devoured. His cultivation level was also being devoured. His Heaven Master cultivation level fell continuously. On the other hand, Su Yu's Immortal Realm Level 3 upper tier was quickly rising to Immortal Realm Level 3 peak. Finally understanding Ling Xiaotian's intentions, Su Yu's eyes turned moist. His throat was hoarse as he anxiously roared, "Stop!" Ling Xiaotian was using his own flesh and cultivation level to activate the evil ghost energy, injecting life into Su Yu's body. He was going to die. For Su Yu, for someone he had only known for half a year, for someone he had no blood relations with, for a junior who was about to die, he was going to use his own life to extend another person's life. At this moment, Su Yu was shocked, a shock that came from the depths of his soul. Ling Xiaotian endured the devouring of the ferocious ghost peacefully. His rapidly shriveled face looked as if he had aged 20 years in an instant, becoming a frail old man. His wrinkled face was filled with relief. The bloodline of the evil ghost is a gift, but it is also a curse. The king nurtured me in hopes that I would be put in an important position one day. This burden, this mission, I will hand over to you. The bloodline was activated, and the devouring speed became faster and faster. Su Yu's tears rolled down his cheeks, his heart filled with endless grief and indignation. Why was he so foolish, sacrificing himself for him? "Do not be sad," said Ling Xiaotian. "The king once said that when my mission comes, it will be the time for me to die. This year is my last year, and my time is up. I am merely passing on the power of my bloodline to you a few months in advance. I am sorry that I could not save you. I could only place this heavy burden, this mission that I will definitely die on you." Ling Xiaotian's voice gradually became weaker. His flesh and blood had already been sucked dry. His white hair gently floated in the air. That was an old man with one foot in the grave. Even so, he still looked at Su Yu with a pair of pitying and apologetic eyes. His face was filled with relief as he bid farewell to Su Yu. His vitality was nearing its limit. He was about to die. As for Su Yu, his shattered bones, severed veins, and destroyed internal organs had all recovered to their original state. His cultivation base had also broken through from Immortal Level 3 upper tier to Immortal Level 4 peak. Ling Xiaotian had passed on all of his cultivation to Su Yu. Everything that seemed to take a long time actually happened in an instant. By the time Lord Shen Ying reacted, it was already complete. "I cannot let you live." Lord Shen Ying's expression was gloomy. He roared loudly and attacked Ling Xiaotian's head with his palm. The King of Darkness actually had a great use for Ling Xiaotian. If the King of Darkness was still alive and knew that they had killed Ling Xiaotian, then they had to die, even if it meant silencing them. As the wind from the palm struck, Ling Xiaotian's lips curled into a smile of relief before his death. He calmly faced the endless death. "No! Palace Master!" Su Yu roared angrily, his tears flowing freely. Under his powerful will, his body, which had yet to fully recover, was forcefully controlled. "Ah! I will kill you!" Su Yu was furious. He suddenly struck out with his palm, enveloping Ling Xiaotian's evil ghost energy. With a sharp whistle, he charged toward Lord Shen Ying. Caught off guard, his right arm was enveloped. With a pathetic cry, Lord Shen Ying's palm turned into black ash on the spot. The flesh and blood essence of the arm was devoured in an instant. Furthermore, the evil ghost energy spread along his palm, devouring his entire body. In his pain, Lord Shen Ying struck decisively. He cut off his own arm, isolating himself from the evil ghost energy. Fresh blood sprayed out. The intense pain struck his soul, causing his gloomy face to look like a demon. My hand! My hand! His fearful face was filled with hatred. I want all of you to die a horrible death. The aura of a human king was vast and mighty. Su Yu was at immortal level 4 peak. At that moment, his blood surged and his figure flew backward. Whoosh! Su Yu waved his large sleeves, creating a gust of wind that carried the dying Ling Xiaotian away, flying backward. Stay here! Lord Shen Ying's roar shook the heavens. His hateful gaze was like that of a demon from hell. Roar, but the face of a ferocious ghost pounced once again. Lord Shen Ying had no choice but to retreat seriously. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Su Yu put Ling Xiaotian into the eternal mask and flew away. As he flew, his teary eyes were bloodshot and filled with boundless hatred. You, all of you, anyone who has been stained with his blood must die. I, Yu, swear on my soul, my life, and everything that I have that if I do not kill all of you, I will fall to the underworld forever. If I do not kill all of you, I will fall to the underworld forever. Fall to the underworld forever. Fall to the underworld forever. A heart-wrenching hatred reverberated throughout the Empire of Darkness. Countless people were shocked. They looked up, their eyelids twitching. That killing intent, that hatred, just how strong was it? It was like the might of the heavens, vast and mighty. In an instant, the Empire of Darkness was shaken. The hateful Lord Shen Ying was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. His soul shook, an indescribable pressure welling up in his heart. The resentment in his eyes was even suppressed by this earth-shattering hatred. A tinge of regret floated in his heart. After a moment, Su Yu stabilized his emotions and freed himself from the evil ghost energy. The commotion had attracted attention from all directions. The 5 lords were the first to arrive. Hearing the oath reverberating through the 9 heavens, they were shocked. What happened? Shen Ying, your hand. Lord Qingzhu stared at it and asked. Suddenly, he noticed that Shen Ying's palm was covered in blood and bones. He was terrified. The other lords also felt their blood run cold. Lord Shen Ying felt guilty, clenching his teeth. It was Yu. He kidnapped Ling Xiaotian. Everyone's eyes narrowed. How powerful was Yu? How could he have saved someone from Lord Shen Ying? Furthermore, Ling Xiaotian should have been in prison. How could he have been kidnapped here? Yu's face, which was shrouded in mist, turned cold. You assassinated him in advance? How dare you? She was shocked and furious. She had been thinking of a way to save Ling Xiaotian for half a month. Lord Shen Ying pretended to be calm. I only brought him to question him. It was Yu. He is a remnant of the Ghost Clan. Everyone's pupils shrank. The Ghost Clan was one of the most terrifying and mysterious 8 great ancient clans. Looking down at Lord Shen Ying's palm, everyone's expressions turned ugly. The 8 great ancient clans were the mortal enemies of the Empire of Darkness. He had barged into the headquarters of the Empire of Darkness without permission and infiltrated a branch palace. He had ulterior motives. Creak, a ray of light appeared. It was the 1,000-mile projection of Lord Bai Luo. Chapter 395. Tens of thousands of miles away. In the quiet forest, on the shore of a beautiful lake, Su Yu let out Ling Xiaotian and the Phoenix Cabinet's master. Ling Xiaotian's hair was white like a dried corpse. He only had one breath left in his body. Thud! Su Yu knelt down on both knees, kowtowing heavily. Dried tears could be seen on his face, his eyes red and swollen. Palace Master, he shouted in a low voice. Su Yu was filled with guilt and self-blame. He had obtained a new life, but it was an extension that Ling Xiaotian had used his life to exchange for. He was not close to Ling Xiaotian, but at the last moment, he had used his life to save Su Yu. Ling Xiaotian's lips moved with difficulty, forcing a smile. As long as you are alive, Su Yu was in pain. Palace Master, I will use my life to save you. Shaking his head, Ling Xiaotian was gratified. I do not regret it. Before I die, I hope that you can promise me 2 things. Su Yu nodded deeply. I will go through fire and water without hesitation. First, swear that I will never use the evil ghost energy against the people of the Empire. I am a member of the Empire, and I will die as a ghost of the Empire. If you use this method to kill them, I will have no face to face them. Su Yu was silent. Shen Ying and Bai Luo were people he had to kill. All right. I promise. I will never use the evil ghost energy against the people of the Empire. He did not need the evil ghost energy to kill them. Second, if the King of Darkness is in trouble, please help me, even at the cost of your life. Su Yu did not hesitate. All right, even at the cost of my life. Ling Xiaotian had a gratified expression. Other than this, I have no more regrets. Su Yu kowtowed. Ling Xiaotian closed his eyes, his aura gradually weakening. But before he died, he was still worried about Su Yu. If I die, please continue to live. Do not seek revenge for me. Use the evil ghost energy well. Ling Xiaotian's lips moved. One last thing. In the early stages of using the evil ghost energy, the evil energy will affect the host. You need a feminine energy to weaken the influence. You must not forget this. Su Yu said, What will happen if I do not find the feminine energy? Ling Xiaotian said, The cultivation that you have devoured has been wasted, and has fallen back to its original level. But once you get used to the power of the evil spirit, you won't need to rely on it anymore. You've devoured my cultivation and one of the divine eagle's palms. You should search for the power of Yin immediately, lest something unexpected happens. With that, Ling Xiaotian closed his eyes completely. Su Yu's expression became tense, and he immediately transferred a shred of spiritual energy to him to maintain his life. However, Ling Xiaotian was like a bottomless pit. The moment spiritual energy entered it, it would be immediately devoured like a clay ox entering the sea. The Phoenix Cabinet's master stepped forward and frowned. It's useless. He is already at the end of his rope. Relying on your spiritual energy will not be enough to sustain his life. Su Yu's heart sank and he was extremely anxious. Was he going to die? Ever since Li Guang died trying to save him, Su Yu had never been able to undo the knot in his heart. Could it be that he had to do it again? Let me try. The Phoenix Cabinet's master parted her fingers, and a drop of blood essence flowed out. It contained a vigorous flame power. The drop landed on the tip of Ling Xiaotian's brows, entering his forehead. At once, a warm energy circulated within his body. This is the power of my bloodline, the Phoenix Cabinet's master said. It can keep him alive for 3 months, but only for 3 months. No amount of blood essence will be of any use. If you do not save him in 3 months, then everything will be over. Su Yu was ecstatic, and he was moved to tears. He knelt down toward the Phoenix Cabinet's master and said, Thank you, Cabinet Master. Yin Yu will never forget your great kindness. It looked like a simple drop of blood, but the Phoenix Cabinet's master's face turned pale. Every drop of blood essence used was 1 drop less. Furthermore, the Phoenix Cabinet's master was severely injured. The power within the blood essence was what maintained her cultivation level. Giving it up just like that would put her in an even more dangerous situation. There was no way she could repay such a great kindness. The Phoenix Cabinet's master's face was filled with tenderness, and she gently helped Su Yu up. Looking at his serious and surprised face, she felt that Su Yu was the first person she had ever seen who valued relationships so much. If she had met such a legendary king when she was still a young girl, a man as handsome as a deity, yet with such a noble character, she would have fallen in love with him. Thinking about this, the Phoenix Cabinet's master smiled. This was just a thought. Don't be like this, the Phoenix Cabinet's master said. Now that my cultivation level has been crippled, the power of my bloodline is a burden to me. Why can't I save a life? But her words could not hide her disappointment. She had fallen from a high and mighty heaven master to a cripple. How could she easily accept such a huge difference? Furthermore, she had a blood feud with countless of her disciples. With her cultivation level crippled, it was impossible for her to take revenge. Su Yu raised his head, looking at the dignified, gentle, and beautiful face. His heart was filled with emotions. From the first time they met, he had developed a favorable impression of this dignified, gentle, and generous cabinet master. She was kind and pure. Even though she was over 40 years old, she looked like a woman in her 20s. The Phoenix Cabinet's master's heart skipped a beat. Su Yu's gaze caused her to be at a loss. Being looked at by Su Yu, the Phoenix Cabinet's master's heart skipped a beat. Su Yu's gaze caused her to be at a loss. He was clearly blind, so why did he have such a spirited gaze? The cabinet master muttered to herself. She had always thought that Su Yu relied on his sense of hearing and was blind. What are your plans? The Phoenix Cabinet's master changed the topic, trying to ease the awkwardness. Su Yu said, I will return to the North Continent's sub-palace to find an item and save the palace master. What about Siener? The cabinet master asked softly. She was envious of Siener for having such a husband. Su Yu was silent for a moment, his tone low. The palace master has given me a new lease on life. His life is at stake, and I cannot think about relationship. As long as I do not save the palace master, I will not be able to spend the rest of my life with Siener in peace. This is a regret in my life that I cannot leave behind. With Li Guang before him, how could Su Yu owe Ling Xiaotian a favor? The cabinet master's eyes were filled with admiration. She was even more moved by Su Yu. He could go against the heavens in anger for a beauty. He could fight for a favor and not be trapped in relationship. Such a man was a true man. Why had she never met him before? What about the cabinet master? Su Yu asked with concern. The cabinet master's expression darkened. She forced a smile. His cultivation level has been crippled. What can a cripple do? Carry your regrets and become immortal. Help your husband and teach your children, spending the rest of your life. Help your husband and teach your children? Su Yu suddenly felt an indescribable sense of regret. Such a peerless beauty had fallen to such a state. I'm sorry I could not help you. Su Yu was apologetic. The effects of the 9-death elixir had seeped into the Phoenix Cabinet Master's limbs and bones. Unless he found the antidote, how could it be neutralized? The Cabinet Master smiled. You have saved my life. This is a debt that cannot be repaid. How can I force you to cure me? The two of them were silent for a moment. Su Yu quietly placed Ling Xiaotian back into the eternal mask. He extended his hand. Let's go. I will bring you to a safe place. The cabinet master was a little unnatural. She extended her soft and fair hand, stuffing it into Su Yu's thick and warm palm. Her heart skipped a beat as she felt the shocking warmth. She then let out a self-deprecating laugh. What am I doing? He is just a child. Furthermore, he was her disciple's fiancé. There was a huge gap in seniority between the two of them. She should not have any strange thoughts. After regaining her composure, the cabinet master naturally said, Let's go. Nodding his head, Su Yu squatted down and prepared to carry Ling Xiaotian on his back. Unexpectedly, Su Yu's whole body suddenly trembled. After that, his expression turned stiff, and he stood motionless at his original position. Beads of sweat gradually formed on his forehead, and his face revealed an expression of extreme pain. His face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. A layer of faintly discernible blood-red fog appeared on his body. It looked extremely strange. Oh no! It's the evil ghost energy. Su Yu thought quickly, immediately understanding the cause. At the same time, he immediately searched his body for any treasures with feminine energy. According to Ling Xiaotian, it was very difficult to control the bloodline of the evil ghost the first time he had obtained it. He needed a treasure that contained feminine energy to neutralize the effects of the evil ghost energy. Otherwise, his cultivation level would drop, and his life would be in danger. But he only had 2 or 3 items on him. There were no feminine items. Cabinet Master, do you have any treasures with feminine energy? Suyu asked for help. His entire body was red, his cultivation level fluctuating, showing signs of instability. If he hesitated any longer, his cultivation level would definitely drop. The master of the Phoenix Cabinet was at the side, her expression changing when she heard Ling Xiaotian's instructions. She had used her life to transfer the cultivation level to Suyu. If his cultivation level were to drop, wouldn't it be a waste? Furthermore, Suyu was in danger and urgently needed his cultivation level. If he dropped to Immortal Realm level 3, he would be in grave danger. Whether he could escape the Middle Continent alive was another matter altogether. The Cabinet Master's heart thumped, not daring to be negligent. She searched his body, but did not find any treasures with feminine energy. I don't have any either. She had been captured alive, so how could she have had the time to prepare a special treasure? Seeing Su Yu's cultivation level drop, the Cabinet Master was anxious. Su Yu's expression was one of deep disappointment and bitterness. The Palace Master just gave me a cultivation level. What a waste! Seeing Su Yu's expression, the Cabinet Master felt an indescribable heartache. He must be blaming himself now. However, there was nothing she could do to help a magic treasure with the power of Een. Wait. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed past the Cabinet Master's mind, her expression changing slightly. She hesitated for a long time, as if making a difficult choice. Finally, she stomped her feet, biting her teeth, her face red. If you don't mind, I can help you. If you don't mind, I can help you. Suyu was pleasantly surprised. Thank you, Cabinet Master. His cultivation level was about to drop. The Cabinet Master's words were like coal in a snowstorm. But the Master of the Phoenix Cabinet hesitated, biting her lips as she stared at Suyu. Her eyes were filled with a complicated expression. There was even a shred of mist quietly spreading. Suyu was shocked. Cabinet Master, what are you doing? The Cabinet Master was expressionless. Close your eyes. Suyu froze, trying to close his eyes. But just as he closed his eyes, a bolt of energy attacked his neck, hitting the back of his head. Suyu was shocked, his consciousness slipping into unconsciousness, and he fainted on the ground. In his fuzziness, he could only hear a light sigh, as well as a rustling sound. Chapter 396. Half a day later, when Suyu woke up, the Phoenix Cabinet's master had already disappeared. When Suyu opened his eyes in a daze, he realized that the violent evil ghost energy in his body had dissipated. The blood-red fog on the surface of his body had also disappeared without a trace. His cultivation base had stabilized once again, and the crisis had been successfully resolved. Subconsciously getting up, he realized that he wasn't wearing any clothes. Instead, there were 2 pieces of women's clothing beneath him. A bright and glistening plum blossom bloomed to its fullest. This is... Suyu's mind buzzed, and he immediately understood what had happened. Suyu! All of a sudden, a voice drifted into Suyu's ears, and when he looked at the source of the voice, he discovered that it was a jade pendant that was transmitting messages. It was stuck to Suyu's chest, and it would automatically be activated if Suyu made any movements. Primordial Een is also a feminine force, so I'm sorry that I didn't ask for your opinion before knocking you out and treating your injuries. Suyu's whole body shook violently. It was indeed true. The Phoenix Cabinet's master had used her precious virginity, which she had kept for decades, to save Suyu. There is no need to blame yourself. Palace Master Ling did not hesitate to sacrifice his life. I merely gave up some things. Furthermore, due to the fusion, some of the evil ghostly energy in your body entered my body and swallowed up the poison of the 9-death pill. At the same time, it also turned the medicinal pill into pure energy. Not only did my cultivation recover, but it even improved significantly. I now have hope of breaking through to sovereign personage. It was a blessing in disguise. You don't need to feel apologetic. The grudges between us are offset. Lastly, please don't tell Cien about this and please forget about me. You take care. The last sentence was choked with emotion. When Suyu heard this, he was stunned. The Phoenix Cabinet's master, whom he had only known for a few days, had chosen to save him by becoming his woman. A deep warmth surged in the depths of his heart. However, he didn't know how to make it up to her. With Cien around, they might never be fated to be together. Similarly, Jiang Xueqing and Princess Yunyan were the same. He was unable to make it up to them. He would forever be a woman with a flaw in his heart. Leaving behind a sigh, Suyu disappeared with Ling Xiaotian. A few days later, in the northern continent's branch palace, the Inu area was bleak and desolate, and everyone was in low spirit. The Phoenix Cabinet sent a message back. Palace Master Inu had battled all the heroes of the continent and stood proudly on the throne, establishing the legend of a genius that transcended generations. Such a great achievement was inspiring. However, the news that followed was that he had been captured and was being punished by the headquarters. Elder Fan, the palace master, is no longer here, and Lady Z has also left. Our Inu area has returned to how it was before. A little boy sighed and said to Elder Fan. There was a tinge of regret on his aged face. People come and go, everyone is just a passerby. Suddenly, Elder Fan's eyes narrowed as he looked at the horizon. Ouyang Long, show yourself. A heavenly voice that could travel hundreds of thousands of miles was heard. The 10 regions of the branch palaces all heard it clearly. It's Palace Master Inu. He's not dead. Cheers filled the Inu area. The Empire's headquarters had yet to issue a warrant for Su Yu's arrest. Ouyang Long stayed in the numinous Sky Hall, waiting for Ling Xiaotian to return. Wei Yan's expression changed, and he flew up to the sky. Welcome, Palace Master Inu. Shuar. After 10 minutes, Su Yu descended. Ouyang Family Master, let's cut to the chase. May I ask if the divine artifact, the Dragon Soul Coffin, is still here? Su Yu had returned to the sub-palace just for this item. Ouyang Long thought for a moment, then flew to the ground, carrying a dragon-shaped coffin as he flew up. Su Yu was delighted. When Ouyang Long moved his family, he had brought it along. Palace Master Inu, if you need it, feel free to take it. Ouyang Long was grateful to Su Yu. Su Yu said gratefully, May I ask if you can save me when I was on the brink of death like back then? To this, Ouyang Long was disappointed. I'm afraid it cannot be as you wish. Saving you back then used up 100 years' worth of energy. I will need to wait another 100 years. Is there no other way to quickly recover energy? Su Yu's expression sank. There is. Refine it, Ouyang Long said. This was a divine artifact that had already been refined. Hence, its descendants could not use its full power unless they refined it again. Refine it. Su Yu's eyes glowed with a cold light. In this world, only the ancient race's 10,000 soldiers' spiritual liquid could refine a divine artifact, turning it back into an ownerless divine artifact. Within the two clan, only one person possessed the 10,000 soldiers' spiritual liquid. The Anua City Master. Where is the North Continent's alliance located? Su Yu's gaze flashed. Ouyang Long said without hesitation, It's in the Forest of Darkness. The young master of the North Continent's alliance, Yu Yao, also known as Wu Yaoyue, has announced that he will be holding a wedding soon, inviting all the elites of the continent. Wu Yaoyue Yu Yao? Yu clan. The 8 great ancient clans? Su Yu's eyes glowed with a cold light. He had long felt that the North Continent's alliance had rashly become enemies with the Empire of Darkness, and that there was someone behind it. Now, it looked like it was true. The Yu clan had returned. But Wu Yaoyue, who was above the 100 Territories Alliance, was actually the young master of the Yu clan. Who was he getting married to? Was it the vicious Feng Xian? Thank you. Farewell. Ouyang Long said hurriedly, Palace Master, what are you planning to do? Su Yu stomped his feet, saying, all of you, leave the North Continent's sub-palace as soon as possible. A great change is about to occur. It was obvious that the people from the main division would purge the North Continent's sub-palace, erasing Ling Xiaotian's trusted aides. The Ouyang family was definitely among them. What? Ouyang Long's expression changed, a little ugly. He had led his entire clan to seek refuge with the Empire of Darkness, but in the end they had no place to hide? Let's return to the 100 Territories Alliance, Su Yu said. Ouyang Long was speechless. Could they still return to the Alliance? There was no longer a place for them to hide. Just go back. Han Jianglin will not return. After Su Yu said this, he turned into a bolt of lightning, piercing through the sky, heading straight for the Forest of Darkness. 1 month later, deep within the vast Forest of Darkness, there were people coming and going. Countless powerful fighters from the continent sent their clansmen to this place. This was because an ancient family that caused the continent to tremble had once again descended upon the world. Deep within the forest, a mysterious and enormous ancient castle, like a bright pearl, lay quietly in the vast primitive forest. 2 enormous demonic beasts of lower tier hovered in the sky, their auras majestic. Countless heroes of the continent brought gifts, heading over to congratulate them. At the entrance, a green-robed elder welcomed the guests, his face full of smiles. The Shi clan of the 8 great ancient clans has arrived. The Ming clan of the 8 great ancient clans has arrived. The Wan clan of the 8 great ancient clans has arrived. The Li clan of the 8 great ancient clans has arrived. Of the 8 great ancient clans, other than the leading Qin clan, the mysterious Gui clan, and the surrendering Tu clan, the other 4 great ancient clans had all arrived. Their arrival would witness the return of the Yu clan. The Heavenly Law Alliance has arrived. Even the Heavenly Law Alliance had received an invitation. Beside the green-robed elder was Huang Xiaoyan, a female martial artist with slanted eyes and a crooked mouth. Haha, young master is indeed impressive. Marrying a woman can garner the support of so many powerful forces. Huang Xiaoyan laughed loudly. The green-robed elder's smile changed to a cold sneer. Would they dare not come? With the 9th Saint Master of the Yu clan here, who would dare not come? Huang Xiaoyan said, what about the Qin clan and the Gui clan? Humph! These 2 clans that do not know what is good for them will be destroyed by the 9th Saint Master sooner or later. The green-robed elder was unconcerned. At this moment, a group of people walked over. Han Jianglin, the Anhua city master, Feng Xian. The green-robed elder calmly said, the North Continent's alliance has arrived. Feeling discriminated against, Han Jianglin and the other 2 were unhappy, but they could not do anything about it. On the surface, they were the main forces of the North Continent's alliance. However, in reality, the Yu clan was the mastermind behind the scenes. The person with the most unsightly expression was the Anhua city master. The Yu clan, which had destroyed his clan, wanted him to come and congratulate them. Tu clan master, have you prepared the congratulatory gifts? The green-robed elder asked arrogantly. The Anhua city master was furious. It was like a tiger being bullied by a dog. He was a clan master of one of the 8 great ancient clans, yet he was being threatened by an immortal realm level 4 peak old man. Although the other party seemed to be Yu Yao's trusted aide and followed him around, it was too much to bully him like this. Although the Anhua city master was secretly furious, he put on a pleasant expression. Of course. Humph, you should know what kind of congratulatory gift you should present, right? The green-robed elder grunted. The Anhua city master could only smile. Don't worry, the 10,000 soldier spiritual liquid has been prepared. We only want the original liquid. Don't take out the diluted liquid to embarrass yourself. Hearing this, the Onua city master was furious. The Yu clan was forcing them to hand over the two clans' foundation. There were only 10 drops of the 10,000 soldiers' spiritual liquid. How precious was it? I know what to do. The Onua city master let out a light grunt, then entered. After waiting for the group to enter, the green-robed elder grunted in disdain. You still want to be arrogant under the Yu clan? Huang Xiaoyan pouted angrily. Who else is not here? The green-robed elder flipped open the name list. Everyone is here. Let's go in as well. The wedding is about to begin. Suddenly, Huang Xiaoyan noticed a figure on the horizon, stepping on a white cloud. There's someone else. The green-robed elder followed her gaze, confused. It was a skinny figure, seemingly very young. But that was not all. This youth was extremely strange. He was carrying a giant coffin on his back. Su Yu stepped on the wind, looking at the brightly lit castle. His expression was cold. You want to use the wedding to spread your name? I will grant you your wish. Chapter 397. That's. The green-robed old man stared intently, and the figure gradually became clearer. Silver hair, silver face, and white robes. Could it be? The green-robed elder could not believe it. According to the rumors in the Heavenly Law Alliance, Inu had been taken away by the Empire of Darkness and died along the way. It was impossible for him to still be alive. Huang Xiaoyan's mouth twitched as she stared blankly for a moment. She then shouted with hatred, I remember this person. He's the handsome boy from the 100 Territories Alliance Conference, Inu. He is Brother Yaoyue's enemy. It really was him. The green-robed old man's face darkened. How dare you come here? Xiaoyan, inform the castle guards immediately. During the battle at the Phoenix Cabinet, Su Yu had killed Heaven Master Shen Kong with a single glance. This matter had spread throughout the world and caused an uproar. How could the green-robed old man dare to be negligent? There is no need for that. I will appear in front of the guards. However, I came here in a hurry, so I didn't bring enough congratulatory gift. I will need to borrow them from the two of you. Su Yu floated down with a smile on his face, but his eyes were filled with a coldness that didn't belong to Su Yu. The green-robed old man shouted in a deep voice, Xiaoyan, go quickly! He held onto his walking stick and stared at Su Yu coldly. Unfortunately, you are not within the invitation list of the Yu clan. The Yu clan does not need your congratulatory gift. Please leave. Su Yu stood where he was and looked at the green-robed elder in front of him. How could he forget that it was he who had tried to kill Su Yu in the 100 Territories Alliance? At that time, Su Yu was just an ant in his eyes. Now, the two of them had the same level of cultivation. Whether you need it or not isn't important. What's important is that I'm going to give it to you. I want to give it to you. These 3 words were domineering. How audacious was the Northern Continent Alliance, who dared to say such words in front of the continent. Inu, do you want to force your way in? Is this the behavior of a dynasty's deputy palace master? Su Yu could not help but let out a long laugh. Rude? Back then, when I was only at the Dragon Realm, did all of you treat me with respect? I was heavily injured and on the verge of death in the Phoenix Cabinet, so when have you been polite to me? Now, you want me to respect you? What a joke. The green-robed old man's heart sank. He gritted his teeth and could only endure it. When the reinforcements arrived, they would gather their men and kill this dangerous person in the cradle. I'd like to see how amazing the legendary genius of the Northern Continent is. The green-robed old man held his walking stick and shouted coldly. Su Yu stood his ground, and only 2 sharp arrows appeared in his chest. The blood-red color was like the blood flowing out of Su Yu's body. It was strange and mysterious. Whoosh, 2 arrows were shot. The green-robed old man's heart skipped a beat. He felt like his body was about to collapse in the face of this evil power. Ha! With a loud shout, the green-robed old man waved his crutch to block the arrow that was shot at him. However, this strange blood arrow was actually a living thing. He bypassed the crutch and struck it in the chest. Puff, a horrifying scene appeared. The old man's body turned into black ashes with a puff. Only his head remained intact. Before the old man could even feel the pain, only his head was left. Whoosh! The blood arrow returned with a wisp of essence, causing Su Yu's body to feel satisfied. As for the other blood arrow, it struck Huang Xiaoyan like a bolt of lightning, turning her body into ashes. However, her essence was too weak. Su Yu could not feel it at all. I wonder how long it would take to use this technique, to steal another person's cultivation level and reach the level of Heaven Master. Su Yu expressionlessly carried the two heads and stepped into the castle. Deep within the castle, it was decorated with lanterns and a festive atmosphere. Wu Yao was Yu Yao. He wore a fiery red gown and was in high spirits. He was in a festive bedroom, his face filled with longing as he stared at the side of the bed, at the fiery red bride. Her demeanor was cold, like an ice mountain. Her figure was slender and graceful. Wrapped in a phoenix robe, she was extremely alluring. At the moment, she was motionless, her expression cold. Wu you are my bride today. I will treat you wholeheartedly for the rest of my life. Yu Yao could not conceal the joy in his heart. Mo Wu's face was filled with anger, but she could not move or speak. Wu don't worry. After the ceremony, I will remove your forbidden technique, Yu Yao said. With the help of the 9th Saint Master, he had successfully removed the sword from Mo Wu's body. She could not commit suicide even if she wanted to. As long as the rice was cooked in the future, Yu Yao believed that Mo Wu would slowly submit to him. You should understand my intentions. I truly love you. Otherwise, I would not have avoided you for so long. I hope you can understand my sincerity. After saying this, Yu Yao stood up and left. I will go welcome the guest. Someone will bring you to the ceremony later. Mo Wu's eyes were filled with fury. Why had he not touched her? Because Yu Yao had reservations. He was worried that if he forced himself on her, she would use the sword energy in her body to injure him. Truly loving her was just a dignified reason. Thinking back to her fate in the past half a year, Mo Wu felt bitter. But she was even more worried about her master's fate. Had she been rescued? Had her face recovered? Also, a handsome face flashed past Mo Wu's mind, her eyes misty. After this day, she would never have the face to face Su Yu again. Creak! At that moment the door opened. A beautiful fairy-like woman in a fluttering white robe walked into the room quietly with a pure and holy aura around her. The moment she saw the woman, Mo Wu felt ashamed. How could there be such a beautiful woman in the world? Her appearance, cultivation level, and temperament were all exquisite. Your name is Mo Wu? You were forced to marry Yu Yao? The woman's expression was kind and holy. Mo Wu blinked her eyelids in agreement. The holy woman smiled. Her smile was like the spring breeze, extremely beautiful. As a woman, Mo Wu was also dazed. I was asked by someone to save you. After you leave from the back door, do not look back. Do you understand? After saying this, the holy woman took off her snow-white robe and changed it into Mo Wu's phoenix robe. You leave first. I will calm the people outside and find a chance to leave. The holy woman released Mo Wu's forbidden technique. Mo Wu opened her mouth and said anxiously, Who asked you to save me? Also, your life will be in danger. The holy woman calmly shook her head. In any case, I was asked by someone. You should leave quickly. I have a way to escape. Leave quickly. After being freed, Mo Wu was overjoyed. After hesitating for a while, she stomped her feet. All right. Be careful. After saying this, she quietly left. As for the woman in the phoenix robe, she sneered. Yu Yao, oh Yu Yao. It's not that easy to get rid of me. I don't believe that you can object to our wedding in front of everyone. This woman was Feng Xian. She was unwilling to let Yu Yao marry someone else, so she took the risk. Yu Yao's strength was average, but his status was what Feng Xian desired the most. How noble was the descendant of the 9th Saint Master! As for that Mo Wu, Feng Xian snorted. Consider yourself lucky. If I wasn't worried that Yu Yao would go berserk if I killed you, would you still be alive? Feng Xian grabbed the red veil with her slender hands and covered her head with anticipation. In the hall ahead, the guests waited quietly. The 4 great ancient clans and the Heavenly Law Alliance came to congratulate them. Apart from the Empire of Darkness, which they did not have a good relationship with, all the forces of the continent came to congratulate them. The return of the Yu clan to the human world was a great shock to the forces of the continent. From that day onwards, the name of the North Continent's alliance and the Yu clan would be even more famous. Thank you, everyone, for coming to attend the wedding. Yu Yao is very grateful. Yu Yao bowed to the guests, scanning his surroundings. The 4 great ancient clans sat next to each other. The people from the Heavenly Law Alliance sat opposite him. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans had brought along their youths. For example, a Heaven Master from the Shi clan had brought along an Immortal Realm Level 4 Peak Junior. The other 3 clans were about the same. Only the Heavenly Law Alliance had sent one person, a 20-year-old youth. Most importantly, his abilities were terrifyingly strong. Human King. A true human king. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans could not hide their fear when they looked over. Yu Yao also felt a shred of respect, secretly shocked. The Heavenly Law Alliance was indeed a legendary giant. To think that there was a proud genius among them who did not lose to the 7 Lords of Darkness. A 20-year-old human king. How talented was he? Looking at him carefully, not only was he young, but he was also handsome. He had a generous aura and a sharp aura. Both his cultivation level and aura were extraordinary. He was like a crane among chickens, unusually eye-catching among the guests. That is Long Feiyu from the Heavenly Law Alliance. He is indeed a talent. Among the 4 great ancient clans, the elder of the Shi clan smiled and praised. I wonder what kind of surprise Nephew Long has brought to Yu Yao? In other words, he wanted to know what kind of gift Long Feiyu had given him. His words seemed to be praising Long Feiyu, but they were actually praising him first. Long Feiyu waved his feather fan, not giving in. Don't worry. No matter how rich your gift is, it cannot compare to mine. Such impolite words really made people feel somewhat resentful. The elder of the Shi clan maintained his smile. Haha, it is good that Nephew Long is so confident. Since that is the case, I will show my incompetence first. After saying this, he took out a black gourd from his robes. It was unknown what material the gourd was made of, but it was extremely heavy. Even a Heaven Master like him found it difficult to lift it. Furthermore, the gourd was sealed tightly, not a single thing leaking out. Nephew Yu Yao, I have nothing else to give you. A bottle of Tiani divine water is a token of my sincerity. As soon as these words came out, it caused a great commotion. Tiani divine water? Among the 8 great ancient clans, the Shi clan is famous for its poison. Tiani divine water is the water that protects the clan. It is rumored that 1 drop can kill a Heaven Master. It is not usually given to outsiders. To think that they would use it as a congratulatory gift today. The other guests secretly realized where the problem lay. It seemed that the 9th Saint Master was very intimidating. The forces that had come to congratulate him did not dare to be negligent. Since that is the case, I will also show my incompetence. Nephew Yu Yao, this is a fragment of a technique that the Ming clan treasures. Fragment? Everyone did not understand. The Ming clan was famous among the 8 great ancient clans for being proficient in all kinds of technique. Why would they only bring a fragment of a congratulatory gift? This is a fragment of a fire-based technique. As for its level, it is a myth. What? Everyone's expression changed. It was a legendary cultivation technique. Even if it was just a fragment, with only a few words, it would definitely shock the entire continent. The Ming clan was actually willing to bring this item out. Haha, then I will congratulate nephew Yu Yao as well. This is the 10,000 clans short-distance wings. After refining it, you can travel 10,000 miles in an instant. Chapter 398. So near, yet worlds apart. Wings was the treasure of the myriad clans that specialized in flying. Everyone's gazes finally landed on the Li clan's elders. The first 3 clans were intimidated by the 9th Saint Master and had taken out their most precious treasures. What about the Li clan? The elders of the Li clan had an ugly expression. No one would be able to accept it if they were forced to hand over their clan's treasure. Unfortunately, the situation was pressing. Hee, nephew Yu Yao, take this death bugle horn. It comes from ancient times, and if it is given to the right person, it can summon the souls of the dead. There was a heavy silence on the field. Even the arrogant Long Feiyu could not help but take a few more glances at the item. There was a hint of greed in his eyes. The death horn was a legendary high-grade weapon. That's right, high-tier. It was a high-grade divine artifact that no middle-grade divine artifact could compare to. In the entire continent, there were no more than 5 high-grade divine artifacts. This death horn was one of them. However, this bugle horn could only be used by someone who possessed the aura of death. The Li clan possessed death energy, but they couldn't unleash even 1% of the divine weapon's power. Apart from not having enough death chi. Most importantly, the mark of this divine weapon's master was still there and could not be erased. Young master, this is a small token of my appreciation. Please accept it. The Anua city master walked out and took out a bottle of blood essence. There were 10 drops of it. 10,000 soldier liquid. The 10,000 soldier liquid that could erase the mark of a divine tool. Everyone's hearts jumped, and the elders of the Li clan revealed looks of greed. This was the horn of death returning to the mortal world. Yu Yao's breathing quickened, and he found it hard to conceal the wild joy in the depths of his eyes. There were too many treasures. Each of them was a peerless treasure that could shake the continent. Now everything belonged to him. However, he had yet to put away these items, because there was still one last person he was looking forward to the most. Long Feiyu. What kind of gift would the Heavenly Law Union bring him? Shua Long Feiyu took out a token from his robes. It was completely black and exuded a cold aura. An incomparably ferocious black dragon was carved on it. Token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds. Young master, if it is possible, raise your cultivation base to immortal level 4p. This way, you might be able to use it. As soon as this item appeared, everyone was shocked. What? It's the token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds. The elders of the 4 ancient clans were also shocked. The juniors they brought with them all had looks of greed and eagerness on their faces. The elder of the Sher clan sucked in a breath of cold air. I didn't expect that nephew Long would actually bring such a great treasure. In other words, he had already admitted defeat. The Tiani divine water could only kill a heaven master, but the token of the dragon abyss of 9 underworlds could kill a heaven master long ago. It was rumored that in the endless sea, there was a dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds, which was created by the Heavenly Law Union. The Heavenly Law Union had sealed the continent's most vicious and evil people, who had been suppressed by the Heavenly Law Union since ancient times. From the Heaven Ascension realm to the Sovereign Personage, it was even rumored that even demigods were suppressed there. Since ancient times, countless people had been suppressed. As for how many were still alive, no one knew. The only thing he knew was that there was an amazing mystic realm inside. Countless unique secret treasures of the 9 underworlds grew within them. Many of them were nature-defying items that could allow one to break through to become a heaven master overnight. However, this place was sealed all year round, and only the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds token made by the Heavenly Law Alliance could bypass the seal and enter. It was rumored that anyone who entered the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds and came out alive had broken through to become a heaven master. The prerequisite was that one's cultivation base had to reach the limits of an immortal level 4. Only then would it be useful. None of the treasures present could be compared to the opportunity to become a Heaven Master. There were many immortal level 4s in the world, but immortal level 4s were as rare as phoenix feathers and unicorn horns. Looking at the northern continent, among the geniuses of the current generation, only Shun Kong had the talent to become a Heaven Master. Apart from him, the rest were the leaders of the super forces. Even the 9th Saint Master might not be able to help Yu Yao break through to become a Heaven Master. The token of the Dragon Abyss of the 9 underworlds was completely feasible. Yu Yao secretly took a deep breath, his eyes filled with excitement. Thank you, everyone. Yu Yao cupped his fists and bowed, tears of gratitude flowing down his face. The crowd looked at the congratulatory gifts on the table, all of them having extraordinary thoughts. However, because they were afraid of the mysterious 9th Saint Master, no one dared to make a move. However, at that very moment, a gust of wind came from outside the door. With 2 thuds, 2 blood-stained balls fell onto the table. Looking at them, they were 2 bloody human heads. Moreover, they belonged to the 2 people who had been welcoming the guests at the door. I, Su, did not prepare any gifts for young Master Yu Yao's wedding. This is a small token of my appreciation. I hope you will accept it. I, Su? The crowd had never heard of him. However, someone who dared to kill a member of the Yu clan and cause trouble on the spot was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Under the crowd's shocked gazes, a white-robed youth, carrying a coffin on his back, stepped through the door. The white-robed youth was only about 17 years old. He wore a long, white robe, his figure skinny. He wore a bronze mask on his face. His hair was a bright, blood-red color. An extremely evil energy was emitted from his body. Who was this person? The Anua City Master, Han Jianglin, and Yu Yao did not recognize him. Stepping into the house, Su Yu grabbed the wine cup on the table and downed it in one go, laughing. Great wine! Ha ha! Yu Yao's face was filled with anger, his heart filled with shock and fury. He had dared to cause trouble at his wedding in front of the entire continent. Huang Xiaoyan, Uncle Lu, had actually been killed. Guards! Yu Yao was furious. He slammed the table, his entire body trembling in anger. However, there was dead silence outside the door. Ah! Look, it's snowing outside. Black snow. The crowd looked outside. Indeed, within the castle, black snowflakes danced in the air. It sprinkled all over the ground. The strange scene shocked the crowd. A person with blood-red hair and a bronze mask, carrying a dragon coffin on his back, had arrived amidst the black snow. This strange identity, this strange aura, caused everyone to tremble in fear. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The guards in the backyard rushed over. Capture him! Yu Yao clenched his teeth. Creak, however, when the 10 guards were within 30 feet of him, they gasped. The youth, sitting quietly on the large table in the center, did not move. However, his blood-red hair fluttered abruptly, sweeping in all directions. All the guards that were swept by it transformed into black ash with a hiss, and the ash scattered down onto the ground. 10 living people had turned into black ashes in the blink of an eye. They did not even have time to react. How horrifying was that? They finally understood where the black snow outside had come from. The entire place was silent. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans stood up solemnly, their faces filled with fear. They pulled their juniors back, continuously retreating. Even though the youth before them was only an immortal realm level 4 peak, they were heaven masters. Yu Yao's pupils shrank to the size of needles, gasping. You are the Ghost Clan. Among the 8 great ancient clans, the most mysterious, terrifying, and bloodthirsty clan. They devoured the flesh and cultivation levels of all living creatures to strengthen themselves. Even though they were also part of the 8 great ancient clans, they were afraid of such an evil clan. Hiss, Ghost Clan. Thud, thud, thud. The faces of the people who were sitting around Su Yu turned pale instantly, and they hurriedly stood up and retreated. In the blink of an eye, only Su Yu was left, sitting quietly at the center of the wedding hall. What is it? Aren't you here to congratulate me? What is the meaning of this? Su Yu calmly said. Yu Yao retreated in fear, saying seriously, Why are you causing trouble on my wedding day? Su Yu's expression was indifferent. Because I have a debt of blood to settle with the North Continent's alliance. I do not understand. When did I offend the Ghost Clan? Yu Yao could not understand. Su Yu calmly said, You do not need to understand. All you need to know is that today, the North Continent will be erased. Destroying the Phoenix Cabinet had forced him to the brink of death. If not for that, Ling Xiaotian would not have needed to sacrifice his own flesh to extend Su Yu's life. For him, for Ling Xiaotian, and for his woman, the Phoenix Cabinet Master, this debt must be paid with blood. This is not a place for you to behave atrociously, Yu Yao said in fear. Don't be insolent. Su Yu's expression was cold. If you are talking about the Ninth Saint Master, I would like to know if he would still dare to show himself with his injuries. Even though Su Yu had not seen the outcome of the battle between the Ninth Saint Master and the Realm King, he could guess the outcome. The Ninth Saint Master was not in the Forest of Darkness, so Su Yu had no need to fear him. As for them, Su Yu surveyed the surroundings, his eyes cold and disdainful. Anyone who wishes to interfere with the matters between me and the North Continent's alliance only needs to stay within 10,000 feet of me. Those who do not wish to participate, retreat 1,000 miles away. I do not wish to kill indiscriminately. But do not force me to kill. The ordinary guests did not hesitate, immediately fleeing 10,000 feet away. The four great ancient clans hesitated. Uncle Jian, with his abilities, you should be able to handle him. Also, on that table. A junior from the Sher clan pointed at the nature-defying treasures on the table that had not been collected in time. The Sher clan elder shook his head decisively, pulling the junior back. This matter has nothing to do with us. There is no need to use our lives to help the Yu clan suffer a bloody calamity. As for those treasures, with so many people here, do you think I can keep them all to myself? Let's wait and see. The Ninth Saint Master has yet to show himself. Rustle, rustle, the four great ancient clans retreated. Long Feiyu gently waved the folding fan in his hands, thinking for a moment. He wore a cold smile as he also retreated 10,000 feet away. The Yu clan had secretly forced them to hand over the treasures, which was already unpopular. Furthermore, they were not stupid. They naturally would not get involved in the feud between the two clans. Everyone retreated. Only Yu Yao, Han Jianglin, and the Anua city master were left. Su Yu casually toyed with the black gourd filled with heavenly one divine water on the table, his expression cold. Han Jianglin, Anua city master, the feud between us shall end today. The two of them had a blood feud with Su Yu that could not be resolved. Especially in the recent battle at the Phoenix Cabinet, where Su Yu had been forced to his death. This feud could only be paid with blood. Han Jianglin and the Anua city master were shocked. How had they offended the rumored Gue clan? But the other party was obviously looking for trouble. They could not show weakness. Han Jianglin said with a cold expression, Little brother of the ghost race, if I, Han Jianglin, have wronged you in any way, I'm more than willing to apologize. However, if you force my hand, I'm not someone to be trifled with. The Anua city master stared at his bottle of 10,000 soldier spiritual liquid on the table. Humph, you are so insolent at such a young age. If your elders were here, I would still be wary. But you, a child, dare to try to threaten me? You don't know your place. Su Yu slowly stood up. Beneath his bronze mask was a pair of blind eyes, but they were overflowing with coldness. I have acted recklessly many times, he said. But this time I am not. All of you, prepare to pay with your lives. Chapter 399. Slap, Su Yu slapped the black gourd away. A fragrance assaulted his senses. Not good. It's the heavenly divine water. The Anua City Master's expression changed. Han Jianglin's eyelids twitched. He reacted faster than the Anua City Master, turning to escape. The heavenly divine water was rumored to be poisonous divine water that could kill heaven masters. Who in the world could stop it? You really want to kill us? The two of them roared furiously as they escaped. Suyu flicked his finger. The 2 drops of heavenly divine water shot out. The jade-green divine water that looked like beads of jade turned into 2 green shadows that chased after the 2 of them. In the nick of time, the 2 of them took out their middle-grade divine artifact. Creak, but a bone-chilling scene ensued. The 2 middle-grade divine artifacts were corroded. The divine artifacts were destroyed in an instant. If the divine artifacts were destroyed, wouldn't a person be turned to dust in the blink of an eye? What was even more unexpected was that after the divine artifacts were corroded, the heavenly divine water did not stop. It continued to corrode the divine artifacts, and the remnants of the divine water sprayed over the 2 of them. 2 pathetic cries could be heard at the same time. Looking over, their bodies were corroding at a speed visible to the naked eye. Especially Han Jianglin, who was quickly rotting to the bone. His body released a pungent black smoke, quickly dissolving. Creak, a red, malicious ghost face suddenly pounced over and wrapped around Han Jianglin. With a creak, Han Jianglin's pathetic cries came to an abrupt end. A handful of gray snowflakes fell to the ground. A huge essence charged toward Suyu like a flood. The cultivation level of Heaven Master had been completely devoured by Suyu. His cultivation level of Immortal Realm Level 4 peak was rapidly approaching Immortal Realm Level 5. He was only 1 step away from Heaven Master. Suyu's heart trembled, his expression wild with joy. Could he break through to Heaven Master so easily? With great anticipation, the evil ghost energy charged toward the Anua City Master. The Anua City Master struggled before his death, roaring furiously, "Ah! I will not let you off even as a ghost." Puff! His voice was cut off, his body turning into black petals, drifting in the surroundings. A shocking essence surged into his body. Suyu felt like he was walking on clouds, as if he was about to enter the mysterious level of Heaven Master. However, all of a sudden, Suyu withdrew from the exhilaration of the extreme breakthrough without any warning. The impact of the essence quickly faded. His cultivation was still stuck at the limit, and he was unable to become a Heaven Master. Even after swallowing 2 Heaven Masters, he was still unable to break through to Immortal Level 5? How big was the gap between the 4th and 5th stage? Yu Yao's face was as white as a sheet. 2 Heaven Masters had perished just like that. At this critical moment, Yu Yao roared into the sky, "Where is the Demon Sovereign? Protect me!" Chirp! 2 sharp cries rang out as 2 small perfection demonic monarchs flew in the sky and dove down with a baleful aura. These were 2 Heaven Masters at their peak. So, how could Suyu deal with the situation calmly now that he had lost the great first divine water? However, with a dripping sound, the evil ghost face spat out a drop of blood essence from its mouth. It was the blood essence from the heart of the 2 clans' clan master, the Anua City Master. It was also the true form of the 10,000 soldier liquid. Whoosh! With a flash of light in his other hand, a huge bow covered in blood appeared in his palm. Hiss! A middle-grade divine artifact bow? Since when did the Ghost Clan possess a middle-grade divine artifact bow? Suyu's expression was calm, injecting his own blood essence and the drop of 10,000 soldier liquid into the silver bow. The remnant blood of the original owner was squeezed out. Suyu's drop of blood essence entered the silver bow, refining it by another 10%. Suyu had successfully refined the silver bow by 20%. He could finally unleash its corresponding power. Creak! Suyu pulled the bow with both hands. The bowstring that could only be pulled back 3 inches in the past was now pulled back 6 inches. A jade-green spirit energy arrow the length of a finger was clear and solid. Its terrifying power shook the surroundings. What a powerful middle-grade divine artifact. The power of this arrow is no weaker than a heaven master. Whoosh whoosh, 2 arrows were shot out consecutively. The space around them trembled, and 2 cries came from above the clouds. The 2 demon sovereigns were caught off guard, and they were nearly killed. 2 great heaven masters had fallen. The crowd was shocked. Just a moment had passed, and Suyu had killed 4 heaven masters consecutively. How ferocious was that? Looking at the entire continent, heaven masters were rare existences. But here they had been harvested like weeds. Looking at Suyu, the crowd's hearts thumped wildly. They were extremely shocked. The ghost clan was too frightening. A bolt of evil ghost energy shot into the sky, quickly swallowing the 2 demon sovereigns. At that moment, Suyu once again felt that he was about to break through his limits. But it was still not enough. A second one. Again. But it was still not enough. When the 2 bolts of essence gradually faded from Suyu's body, he was shocked. He had swallowed 4 heaven masters consecutively, but he still had not succeeded in breaking through to Immortal Realm Level 5. Long Feiyu stood with his hands behind his back, a mocking smile on his face. If one could break through to Heaven Master like this, then the Immortal Realm Level 5s in this world are too worthless. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans agreed. The difficulty of breaking through to Level 5 is no less than the difficulty of all the previous realms combined. It is a natural chasm for martial artists. Without a fortuitous encounter, it would take decades or even centuries of accumulation to break through. Furthermore, this is only possible if one is extremely talented. Hearing this, Suyu's expression darkened. The difficulty of breaking through to Heaven Master was too heaven-defying. Turning his head to look at Long Feiyu, Suyu's gaze fixed on Yu Yao. Whoosh! Yu Yao turned and fled without hesitation. Suyu's chest glowed with a black light. All of the treasures on the table, the Ming clan's treasure, the legendary remnant fragment, the Wan clan's treasure, the short-distance wings, the Li clan's high-grade divine artifact, the Death Horn, and the Heavenly Law Alliance's token to the Dragon Abyss of 9 underworlds, disappeared into thin air amidst the greed of the crowd, stored in Suyu's space ring. After doing this, Suyu closed his eyes, walking toward Yu Yao. Long Feiyu's gaze flickered, following far behind. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans did the same. Yu Yao fled to a stone door in the backyard, screaming in fear. "Uncle Li, save me!" Rumble. The stone door opened, and a middle-aged man in a gray robe walked out, his face filled with the vicissitudes of life. "What is it?" The middle-aged man in the gray robe released a terrifying aura. He was a heaven master. His eyes were cold and fierce as he looked up at the sky filled with black snow. "Uncle Li, it's the Gui clan. The Gui clan wants to destroy the northern continent. 2 lower-tier demonic beasts, Han Jianglin and the Anya City Master, have been killed. Save me." The pupils of the middle-aged man in the gray robe shrank. "Who is it?" "It's me." A short, indifferent reply drifted over at a moderate speed. Looking to the side, he saw a red-haired youth holding a blood-red bow, striding toward him. A blind man? The middle-aged man in the gray robe let out a cold grunt, implying that they were too useless, unable to deal with a blind man. "To kill someone in my Yu clan, in my empire of darkness, you are looking down on me." Crack! He had just finished speaking when an arrow of spirit energy pierced through his forehead. Following that, the evil ghost energy devoured his flesh and cultivation level. Chapter 400. Hiss! The people who had chased after him all gasped. Another heaven master had been killed. Furthermore, it was a relative of the Yu clan. "Ah!" Yu Yao screamed in fear as he fled in a hurry. Unknowingly, he had escaped into the bridal chamber. Rumble, with a thunderous roar, Suyu barged into the bridal chamber as though there was no one there. Yu Yao had nowhere to run. Suyu calmly observed the bride. He did not use his soul eyes to see through her, but the bride's figure was exceptional. But she gave Su Yu a sense of familiarity, as though he had seen her somewhere before. She also gave off a holy aura. Shaking his head, Su Yu did not stop. It could not be such a coincidence that Wu Yaoyue's bride was someone he knew. But Yu Yao took the opportunity to ram his head into a landscape painting on the wall. A strange scene occurred. It was clearly an ordinary landscape painting, but a ripple that could be seen by the naked eye strangely spread, containing a powerful space energy. Yu Yao was instantly enveloped, his body disappearing quickly. He did not even have time to turn back to say anything. He only had time to glare at Su Yu with hatred before disappearing completely. Space transportation. He could not be more familiar with space energy. Su Yu's expression changed slightly. He quickly dashed forward, hoping to catch up to the last bit of space transportation. But when he rushed over, the landscape painting was incinerated into flames, reduced to ashes. Before the other party left, he had destroyed the transportation in this area. Su Yu's gaze was cold. This was only a short distance transportation. The other party had not escaped far. Chase. But just as Su Yu was about to leave, a gust of wind attacked him from behind. Su Yu's expression turned cold. A sneak attack? How reckless! Regardless of who was behind him, Su Yu punched behind him without thinking. Su Yu had expected that even if this punch did not seriously injure the other party, it would at least scare him away. Unexpectedly, the other party's physical techniques were extraordinary. He had dodged the punch with great speed and closed in on Su Yu. Su Yu's heart shuddered. He tapped his toes, wanting to open up some distance. But at this moment, a strange fragrance entered his nose. The blood in his body boiled, and his rationality crumbled. What poison is this? Su Yu was shocked. Thud, thud, soft footsteps could be heard coming from behind him. When he turned around, it was the bride dressed in red. This stupid woman. You mistook me for a groom. Feeling the strangeness of his rationality, Su Yu found it funny and infuriating at the same time. Yu Yao, could it be that you still don't understand my feelings? How can Mo Wu compare to me? Feng Xian grumbled slightly. In order to prevent herself from being seen through, she could only resort to this method. I am the Northern Continent's holy maiden. Many people dream of having my first time. Tonight, I will give it all to you. Are you still not satisfied? Under the red veil, Feng Xian guided him patiently. Su Yu's heart shook violently. This voice. Feng Xian. That woman who deceived her master and destroyed her ancestors, and whose heart was as vicious as a snake. She had poisoned her master, killed the cabinet master, and killed countless female disciples of the Phoenix Cabinet. She could not escape the blame. It was actually her. Su Yu had never expected this. With a wave of murderous intent, fury, and evil thoughts, Su Yu turned around and pulled off her red veil. Open your eyes and see who I am. Feng Xian's expression changed. She pushed him away as if she had been electrocuted. You are not Yu Yao, she said in shock. Looking over, it was a blind masked youth with blood-red hair and white clothes. Who are you? Feng Xian was furious. She had actually thrown herself into the arms of a stranger she did not know. Su Yu let out a long, hoarse laugh. You have forgotten me so quickly. His right hand removed the mask, revealing his complete face. Feng Xian still felt that he was a stranger. But when Su Yu's blood-red hair gradually turned silvery white, she screamed in fear, You are. In you. During the battle at the Phoenix Cabinet, he had killed Shen Kong with one glance. He had fought against 3 heaven masters alone, a frightening existence like the god of death. How could she forget such a frightening figure? Looks like you still remember me. Su Yu smiled, his smile extremely evil. Answer me. Where is Mo Wu? Su Yu was even more shocked that the real woman Yu Yao wanted to marry was actually Mo Wu. Mo Wu, who had been missing since the battle at the 100 Territories Alliance, was actually the bride of this wedding. He did not need to guess to know that she had been forced into this marriage. Mo Wu had spent her entire life working hard to restore Aneuro's beauty. How could she give up halfway and marry someone? Thinking of this, a wave of anger burned in his chest. Feng Xian's terrified expression gradually returned to normal. A faintly discernible cold smile appeared on her lip. So, you also know Mo Wu. You want to know where she is? He. Do you think I would tell you so easily? Mo Wu's whereabouts were her true trump card. A crazy thought formed in Feng Xian's mind. If she could control Mo Wu, would she be able to order Inu around? Such a legendary genius, such a powerful fighter. If she could use him, but Su Yu had an evil smile. His smile was completely different from the usual Su Yu. Have you forgotten something? Su Yu laughed coldly. His smile was extremely evil, as if he was a completely different person from the usual Su Yu. Chapter 401. Outside the 10,000 zhang house, the guests stopped in their tracks to watch. Even though they could not see what was happening in the house, they could hear what was happening inside. Rumor has it that the people of the Ghost Clan are affected by the power of their bloodline, Long Feiyu said, licking his lips, his eyes glinting with a strange light. Rumor had it that Yu Yao's wife was extremely beautiful. He had not expected her to benefit the people of the Ghost Clan. When the effects of the medicine dissipated, Su Yu's expression gradually turned green. He had made such a stupid mistake. He could have caused such a misunderstanding with anyone, but it had to be a vicious woman like Feng Xian. Even though Feng Xian was the most detestable woman Su Yu had ever seen, it did not mean that Su Yu could do as he pleased. What difference was there between his actions and Feng Xian's? One was vicious, the other forcefully taking someone else's virginity. Both were actions that Su Yu despised, but he had committed one of them. Closing his eyes, Su Yu took a deep breath. How was he going to deal with Feng Xian? After thinking for a long time, Su Yu lowered his head and looked at Feng Xian, who had her eyes closed and was trembling slightly. Her body was filled with crazy marks. Murderous intents flashed past Su Yu's eyes several times. Finally, they turned into a sigh. From now on, do not do evil anymore. If you kill anyone indiscriminately, even if I have to go to the ends of the earth, I will personally kill you. My woman. There is no one who has done evil. This was Su Yu's only concession. Feng Xian did not move. Her chest rose and fell steadily, showing her inner calmness. She had kept her chastity for 20 years, only to climb the ranks of the rich and powerful. Now all of that had been for naught. Feng Xian felt like she had lost everything. She had once fantasized about climbing the ranks of the top people. She had once fantasized about standing above countless people. Everything she had fantasized about was now destroyed. Her body was her most precious resource. Hearing that Su Yu had spared her life, Feng Xian smiled bitterly. Your woman, she had become Yu Yao's woman. The ironic ending made her feel ridiculous, but she could not bring herself to hate him. She had brought this upon herself. She had tried to become the young mistress of the Yu clan, using all sorts of methods, but in the end she had harmed herself. Su Yu put on his clothes, looking at her profoundly. A person's life is but 3 autumns. Isn't it more interesting to rely on your own hard work to reach the peak of glory? Wholeheartedly clinging to others, you will reap the peak, but you will lose your life. Feng Xian had heard the principles of life countless times. Now that she was at the lowest point of her life, she was experiencing it again, and it was especially meaningful. He thought about how he had schemed and harmed countless people over the years. She had secretly slaughtered others, yet she appeared as a saintess. When had she ever enjoyed the slightest bit of joy? A trace of fatigue engulfed Xiao Chen's heart as he recalled the past. His life was too tiring. She had become the saintess that everyone paid attention to and enjoyed the glory of being the dream lover of millions of men. She had reached the peak, but had she ever been satisfied or relaxed? The desires of life were like a ravine, never ending. After entering the Phoenix Cabinet, she wanted to be proud of the Phoenix Cabinet. After being proud of the Phoenix Cabinet, she wanted to be famous throughout the continent. What would happen after she was famous throughout the continent? What kind of lust would it be? Hope? After staring blankly for a long time, Feng Xian's disheartened heart felt as if a door had been reopened. Su Yu gently covered her graceful body, then turned around and left. This subtle movement caused the spirit in Feng Xian's eyes to fluctuate, and a wisp of mist silently filled the air. Mo Wu, I've let her escape. You can be at ease. As Su Yu left, he heard a soft murmur beside his ear. Thank you, Su Yu said softly with his back facing the door, his expression relieved. Once Su Yu appeared, everyone's expressions changed. Ignoring them, Su Yu stood in the air, his soul eyes open. Within 10,000 miles, mountains, rivers, swamps, and hills were all visible. A figure escaping toward the snow-listening tower appeared before Su Yu's eyes. Whoosh! Su Yu's figure was like the wind, leisurely giving chase. A few days later, the Yu clan's Heaven Master, who was in charge of the snow-listening tower, was killed with one arrow. Those who resisted in the tower were completely annihilated. A few days later, at the Phoenix Cabinet, black blood floated in the sky, corpses littering the land. Not a single member of the Yu clan's direct line of descent was left alive. A few days later, the 100 Territories Alliance's bloody path extended for 10,000 miles, and countless families were destroyed. Black snow fell for 3 days and 3 nights. From the northernmost snow-listening tower to the Central Region's Phoenix Cabinet, and finally to the 100 Territories Alliance. Su Yu slaughtered along the way. Anyone who protected Yu Yao was killed without mercy. All the forces close to the North Continent's alliance were massacred. Fresh blood covered millions of miles of mountains and rivers. Black snow stretched across the North Continent, like a black mountain range, standing shoulder to shoulder with the ancient Wulong snowfield. No one knew how many people Su Yu had killed. All they knew was that the Northern Continent's Heaven Masters had been wiped out. All they knew was that Su Yu had single-handedly massacred the entire North Continent. Everywhere he passed, he left behind fresh blood. What flowed was black snow. Apart from the 9th Saint Master, the North Continent's alliance had been annihilated. They only existed in name. This month would be known as the Northern Continent's dusk in the future. Heaven Masters were massacred in the dusk. The North Continent's alliance, which had unified the Northern Continent, collapsed in a single night, becoming a mark and symbol in history. Blood-red hair, bronze face, white robes, he became an unforgettable legend, a legend as terrifying as Azura. He did not leave behind any name, but he had a title that no one doubted. Black Snow Devil King. One man and one bow, dyeing millions of miles of mountains and rivers with blood, massacring countless lives. He represented death. He represented destruction. He represented the descent of panic. On this day, at the edge of the ocean, Yu Yao, who had been chased for millions of miles, knelt on a reef island. His expression was dispirited, his eyes lost. The North Continent's alliance had been destroyed. The Yu clan had also been destroyed. Su Yu had spared him because he wanted to find the remaining members of the Yu clan, as well as their allies. Black Snow Devil King. You humiliated my wife, wiped out my entire clan, and killed my alliance. I, Yu Yao, will not let you off even as a ghost. Yu Yao recovered a shred of energy, completely giving up on escaping. Su Yu's expression was indifferent. He gently waved the silver bow in his hand, killing him with one arrow. Whatever, Su Yu calmly said. The Yu clan had been destroyed, and the Northern Continent had been destroyed. The Phoenix Cabinet's master had been avenged, and so had Su Yu. Only Ling Xiaotian's revenge had not been avenged. Lord Xin Ying and Lord Bai Luo had to pay with their blood. Chapter 402. The difficulty of breaking through to Heaven Master was much higher than he had imagined. If swallowing 4 heaven masters still could not break through, you would only be shocked at the difficulty of the bottleneck. But swallowing tens of thousands of lives and bathing the entire North Continent's alliance in blood would leave Yu in despair. The chasm was too frightening. He had killed everyone in the North Continent, but still could not break through. The only difference was that he was only very close. He could only go to the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds and rely on opportunities to break through. Standing on the sea, Yu turned his head, coldly looking at Long Feiyu and the 4 great ancient clans. "Your gifts are with me. If you want them back, come," Yu calmly said, slowly walking toward them. He slowly pulled back the silver bow in his hand. Its destructive edge shocked the hearts of the people. The elders of the 4 great ancient clans clenched their teeth. They had followed Yu for such a long time, waiting for him to weaken so that they could kill him and take back their clan's treasure. But Yu's evil ghost energy continuously swallowed his enemies. No matter how weak Yu was, as long as he had a breath left, he could recover. Now that the massacre was over, they had lost their chance. "Black Snow Devil King, we will remember this." The 4 great ancient clans retreated. Only Long Feiyu of the Heavenly Law Alliance was left. "You wish to fight?" Yu calmly looked over. Long Feiyu's lips curled into a mocking smile. "Fight? You think too highly of yourself. I admit that I cannot bathe the North Continent in blood. I cannot be like you, using battle to nurture battle. But you are too weak in a one-on-one fight. The difference between a human king and a heaven master is not something you can understand." Yu understood. He had seen Lord Shenying's power with his own eyes. That was a level that far surpassed heaven masters. "So," Yu said. Long Feiyu's eyes flashed with coldness. "Is there a need to say more? Hand over 4 items and I will spare your life. First, 10,000 soldier spiritual liquid. Second, death horn. Third, short distance wings. Fourth, the fragment of a legendary level item. As for the token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds, consider it my reward to you. Hand it over." Reward? Did he think Yu was a beggar? Yu kept his silver bow, his hands clasped behind his back. "What if I say no?" Killing intent shot out from the depths of Long Feiyu's eyes. "Then, die." Rumble, however, right at this moment, an earth-shattering explosion descended from the sky. In the empty sky, an ancient battleship with a circumference of hundreds of thousands of miles suddenly appeared. It covered the sky and was incomparably terrifying. "Long Feiyu, quickly return to your position." A majestic shout reverberated in all directions. Long Feiyu's expression changed slightly. He wanted to attack, but he did not dare to disobey. Gritting his teeth, Long Feiyu shouted coldly, "Consider yourself lucky. I advise you not to touch these things. They are entrusted to you by this young master. If you dare to touch them, I'll make sure you have nowhere to go." Schwa turning into an afterimage, Long Feiyu entered the warship. When he lowered his head to look again, Yu was nowhere to be found. Only an indifferent voice was left behind. "I hope that you can fulfill your promise and wait for your death." A trace of anger appeared in his eyes. "Feiyu, why haven't you returned yet?" A figure of light appeared in the battleship. It was the Qianli incarnation that only a demigod could possess. Long Feiyu's expression darkened as he said, "Father, do you know about the upheaval in the northern continent?" The silhouette was blurry, and one could not see his face clearly. One could only sense his cold temperament. Yes, a descendant of the ghost race, the Black Snow Devil King, appeared out of nowhere and massacred the Northern Continent Alliance. How strange. In that case, Father, do you know that he possesses the Death Horn and the 10,000 soldier liquid? The figure nodded slightly. I know. I will send someone to retrieve that divine artifact. It's too dangerous, so our Heavenly Law Alliance will take care of it. Hearing this, Long Feiyu's expression relaxed a little. Yes, Father. Get ready. The disciple of the undead Phoenix Master, Qiu Ningshui, is about to enter the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds to train and seek a breakthrough to Heaven Master. She needs someone to protect her along the way. Get ready quickly. Long Feiyu looked surprised. Qin Xiener wants to go to the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds? This mission belongs to me. I will definitely help Xiener to become a Heaven Master. The light figure chuckled. Go. Once you've done your job, I'll be able to matchmake the 2 of you with Undead Phoenix Master. Long Feiyu smiled deeply. I understand. Leave everything to me. Empire of Darkness. At the foot of the Divine Peak, on the steppe, a beautiful silhouette stretched out under the setting sun. It was a picturesque scene. Xia Jingyu sat on the steps in a daze, her hand resting on her chin as she looked at the distant sky, lost in thought. One moment she was smiling, the next she was depressed, the next she was worried, and the next she was excited. All sorts of expressions appeared on that beautiful face. Lord Qing Zhu stood silently behind her, his face filled with shock. Ever since Lord Yu had come to this place, he had never seen her with so many expressions before. He had never seen any of them before. Yu, is Yu the bosom friend of Xinyue Island, Suyu? Lord Qing Zhu was inexplicably jealous. He could not understand why Xia Jingyu was so infatuated with Yu. Yu awoke from her daze and regained her calm expression. However, her eyes could not hide the agitation and nostalgia she felt. Yes, he was my bosom friend. We had an agreement that I would use my eyes to witness the prosperity of the Zhenlong continent for him. Among the 7 lords, only Lord Qing Zhu was peaceful. Yu was the only friend he could converse with. Only he knew of Su Yu's existence. Lord Qing Zhu said, "Who would have thought that he, who was deemed to have no talent back then, would enter the Zhenlong continent as an abnormal spirit? It is truly shocking. To be able to walk from a barren island to the position of Deputy Palace Master Yu." Lord Qing Zhu vaguely understood that Su Yu was not ordinary. But in his eyes, Su Yu was not worthy of Xia Jingyu. Xia Jingyu was a celestial being, a celestial being. Su Yu was a mortal in the world. As for who was worthy of her, in Lord Qing Zhu's eyes, at least Su Yu was not worthy. Especially after Yu had found out that Su Yu was Yu, her transformation had made him even more certain of his decision. Lord Shen Ying is personally pursuing him, Lord Qing Zhu said. The situation is not good. Xia Jingyu, on the other hand, revealed a breathtakingly beautiful smile. Her smile was filled with dazzling confidence. He will be fine. I believe in him. I believe in him more than I believe in myself. Believe in him more than you believe in yourself? A thread of jealousy flashed past Lord Qing Zhu's eyes. A thought flashed past Lord Qing Zhu's mind. Perhaps it would be best if Yu died. He did not think that Su Yu was worthy of being Xia Jingyu's confidant. At least, he did not think that Su Yu was stronger than him. All right, Lord Qing Zhu said, changing the topic. We should set off for the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds to train for your breakthrough to Heaven Master. Xia Jingyu slowly stood up, her expression calm and emotionless. It is time to prepare. But I need to make a trip to the northern continent first. What are you doing? Lord Qing Zhu creased his brows, realizing Xia Jingyu's motive. Xia Jingyu's calm expression was mixed with a rare killing intent. Doing what I hate the most, killing people. And killing a lot of people. Chapter 403. Lord Qing Zhu was a little disgusted. He did not want to hear Xia Jingyu's name again. There is no need. The latest news is that the North Continent's alliance, the Yu clan, has been destroyed. Lord Qing Zhu calmly said. Xia Jingyu raised her eyebrows. Eh? Who did it? Black Snow Devil King. 1 person and 1 bow, massacring 1,000,000 miles, from the northernmost snow-listening tower to the southernmost 100 territories alliance. Their blood dyed 1,000,000 miles of mountains and rivers. All the powers related to the North Continent's alliance have been destroyed. Xia Jingyu was slightly shocked. One person and one bow. What a powerful fighting ability. Yes, it is the Gui clan. Lord Qingzhu also revealed a look of admiration. Gui clan? Xia Jingyu thought of Yin. Lord Shen Ying's hand had been destroyed by Su Yu's evil ghost power. Lord Qingzhu seemed to know what she was thinking. There is no need to guess. The Black Snow Devil King is not Yin. We have compared them, and they are not the same person. Is that so? Xia Jingyu was inexplicably disappointed, but also expectant. For the first time, the dull Zhenlong continent was filled with color and anticipation. Dark Forest, Yu Clan. The ninth Saint Master looked down at the castle. It was deathly silent, with no signs of life. There was only a thick layer of black snow. An hour later, he was still in the dark forest, but he was now standing in the destroyed snow listening tower. After another hour, he appeared in the Phoenix Cabinet and the 100 Territories Alliance, one after another. They're all dead. The ninth Saint Master's cold eyes were filled with coldness as he looked up to the sky and sighed. This sigh caused the mountains and rivers to crumble, and the clouds to move. It was as if the heavens were showing their might. Black Snow Devil King, you must die. Creak, with a flash, the ninth Saint Master disappeared without a trace. At the same time, the rumors of the Black Snow Devil King spread throughout the Zhenlong continent. An unparalleled god of death, who had swept through 1,000,000 miles of mountains and rivers. The newly formed North Continent's alliance had destroyed the Phoenix Cabinet, but it had been destroyed just as the wedding was about to become famous. The news spread far and wide, and it was even more shocking than the North Continent's alliance's establishment. In an instant, the Black Snow Devil King had become a terrifying legend that everyone knew about. The Phoenix Cabinet and the North Continent's alliance had been destroyed. The Pavilion Master, who was dressed in colorful clothes, raised her head and looked toward the sky. Her eyes were filled with bewilderment. Black Snow Devil King, could it be him? It's him. A calm voice floated over. Feng Xian stood in front of the house and knelt down. Why did you come back? The Pavilion Master looked over calmly. Feng Xian kowtowed. Face the past, face the future. The Cabinet Master was silent for a long time. Who changed you? You are no longer a virgin. It's him, Yin. Master's virginity is also gone. Did you also give it to him? Feng Xian chuckled. This was the first time in her life that she had ever smiled from the bottom of her heart. It turned out that his master and he had the same man. The Pavilion Master's face was slightly red. She looked at Feng Xian and smiled bitterly. She sighed and said, You and me, master and disciple, were unable to escape his evil clutches. This is fate, go. Yu Ling and the others are buried in the back mountain. Feng Xian stood up and walked towards the back of the mountain. My sins are grave, and I will guard the mausoleum for the rest of my life. I do not ask for their forgiveness, nor do I ask for my sins to be washed away. I only ask that I can be a clean woman for once in my lifetime, and not be killed by that man. When the Cabinet Master heard this, he was moved. I am giving you a chance because of Yin. Feng Xian smiled as she turned back. I know, because he is in your heart. The Cabinet Master looked at the clouds and the rebuilt Phoenix Cabinet. Her heart was filled with bitterness. Thank you, Yin. When you were born, I was not born. When I was born, you were already old. This was the loneliest thing in life, in the boundless ocean. In a cave on a deserted island. Su Yu took out the 10,000 soldier spiritual liquid and removed the Dragon Soul Coffin. The Dragon Soul Coffin was a broken divine artifact. Most of its spirituality had disappeared, and it did not need much 10,000 soldier spiritual liquid. Su Yu poured in a drop, and the owner's imprint was completely erased, refined by him. With a thought, energy from all directions gathered within the Dragon Soul Coffin. The powerful energy continuously nourished Ling Xiaotian, who was within the coffin. His shriveled body recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye, and he regained his handsome appearance. Great! Su Yu heaved a sigh of relief. The self-blame and guilt he had suppressed dissipated. But Su Yu's expression gradually turned rigid. After the energy disappeared, Ling Xiaotian returned to his shriveled body. What happened? Why did this happen? Su Yu was extremely shocked. Suddenly, the long-awaited voice of Yun Yazi came from his chest. He took the initiative to give up his flesh and blood to heal you. Do you want to reverse the situation? How could it be so easy? Su Yu looked as if he had found his savior, anxiously saying, Master, you are finally awake. Please tell me how to save him. I owe him my life. If he dies, I will never be able to rest easy. Yun Yazi sighed. I am worried because I know your character. There is only one way to save him. Absorb the power from beyond the heavens. But there is no power from beyond the heavens in the Zhenlong continent. Su Yu's eyes were filled with hope. Then, where is the power from beyond the heavens? When you break through to the fairy realm, the power from beyond the heavens will descend. This is your only chance. The last bit of hope in Su Yu's eyes was gradually extinguished. Ascending to the fairy realm. The end of the immortal realm was the fairy realm. It was the legendary realm of deities. Su Yu found it difficult to break through to the Heaven Master level, much less the fairy realm. Most importantly, Ling Xiaotian only had 3 months to live. 1 month had already passed, and there were only 2 months left. How was it possible to break through to the fairy realm in 2 whole months? You do not need to be discouraged. The Zhenlong continent is about to undergo a huge change. Great chaos brings great opportunities. You might have a chance to break through to the fairy realm. Hearing this, Su Yu's spirits were lifted. Yun Yazi's words were never empty words. I will use my life to break through to the fairy realm to repay Ling Xiaotian's kindness. Keeping his emotions in check, Su Yu flipped through the other treasures. Fire Element Mythical Fragment. Su Yu pondered for a long time. With a thought, he summoned the second-grade clone. His main body specialized in ice and was not suited for fire. Coincidentally, his clone did not have a suitable technique. This fragment of a legendary artifact was perfect. Next was the Wan clan's short-distance wings. It was the treasure of the Wan clan. In terms of grade, it was a top-notch middle-grade divine artifact. It could travel 10,000 miles in an instant, traversing across the northern continent in just a few hours. Filled with anticipation, Su Yu refined it into his body. Next was the Death Horn. It could summon the spirits of the world and was suitable for people with death energy. What shocked Su Yu the most was that this was a high-grade divine artifact. There were only 5 high-grade divine artifacts on the continent. Its power was unimaginable to Su Yu. The only pity was that it was not suitable for him to use. But it was suitable for Siener, the phoenix of death constitution. In this world, was there anything more suitable for Siener? Finally was the token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds. An opportunity to break through to Heaven Master. Su Yu held the token of the dragon abyss in his hand, his eyes filled with determination. Heaven Master, I, Su Yu, am coming! Whoosh! Su Yu turned into a shadow, charging deep into the sea. In the other 2 directions, Qin Siener and Xia Jingyu also charged deep into the sea. Chapter 404. Amidst the boundless sea of clouds, a lone island was like a green pearl, embedded in the azure sea. The island was lush with green and demonic beasts roamed freely. A deep ravine ran through the north and south of the island. The ravine was extremely deep, with no end in sight. It was as if it could swallow one's gaze. A primordial aura assaulted one's senses. It was an ancient island with a deep and mysterious ravine. A red-haired figure pierced through the clouds, a pair of feathery wings 10,000 feet long on his back. With a flap of the wings, he traveled 10,000 miles in an instant. He was Su Yu, who had been traveling for several days straight. Landing on the island, above the ravine, Su Yu held the token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds, his eyes filled with doubt. Is the so-called dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds referring to the bottomless abyss below? Su Yu had a doubtful expression as he slowly opened his eyes, his soul eyes calmly looking down. 10,000 feet, 10,000 feet, 100,000 feet, 100,000 miles, but he still had not reached the bottom. What kind of ravine was this? Jiang Baiyu was astonished. Suddenly, Jiang Baiyu's shoulder sank abruptly as a shriveled and aged palm silently rested on his shoulder. Jiang Baiyu's body trembled. He froze on the spot, his pupils dilating to the size of needles. There was someone behind him. How was that possible? Before using his soul eyes, he had already seen through the entire island. Apart from a few demonic beasts that did not pose much of a threat, there were no signs of any living beings. Even if he had missed them, he had been paying attention to every movement around him while in the state of his soul eyes. But someone had actually passed through the detection of his soul eyes and appeared behind him. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Suppressing the panic in his heart, Su Yu calmly said, "Elder, is something the matter?" As he spoke, he slowly turned his head. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a disheveled old man, his face reeking of alcohol, smiling foolishly as he looked at Su Yu. "Ha ha, little brother, you stole my wine, right?" "Stole wine?" Su Yu lightly shook his head, calmly turning around. "No." The sloppy old man moved closer, his nose sniffing Su Yu's body, muttering in disappointment, "No, really no. Could it be that little beast?" Whoosh! At that moment, a figure of light suddenly took on a human form. It was the demigod realm's 1,000-mile doppelganger technique. "Old man, you've come out to cause trouble again." The veins on the figure's forehead throbbed as he cursed and kicked the sloppy old man's buttocks. The sloppy old Taoist stumbled and fell to the ground. His head hit a huge rock. Poochie! The sloppy old Taoist's head was not injured at all. Instead, the boulder turned into nothingness on the spot. Yes, nothingness. It wasn't crushed, it wasn't dust, it was nothingness. This scene caused Su Yu's pupils to contract fiercely, and his heart to palpitate. What a terrifying body! When Su Yu recalled that his shoulder had been touched by the old man's palm, he felt a lingering fear. That palm could have turned him into a pile of ashes. "Old thing, is it easy to be your disciple? I'll clean up your mess all day long." The glowing youth chattered incessantly as he supported the sloppy old Taoist priest on his shoulders. "Damn it, your father, am so unlucky to have a master like you." Jiang Baiyu was dumbfounded. That figure of light was actually the slovenly old Taoist's disciple. However, if his disciples were all at the demigod realm, then his master, fairy realm. Su Yu secretly gasped. This sloppy old Taoist priest was actually a strong martial artist of the fairy realm. "Brother, I'm sorry. This old man has scared you. Sorry for disturbing you." The glowing figure apologized to Su Yu, supporting the sloppy old Taoist priest as they prepared to leave. "Wait!" Su Yu took out the token of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds. "Brother, may I ask how I can use this token?" The other party looked up and stared at it. "Damn it, those bastards of the Heavenly Law Alliance are recklessly giving out this stupid token again." The glowing figure seemed to be extremely furious. He casually threw the sloppy old Taoist priest away. Yes, casually threw him away. Thump! The sloppy old Taoist priest fell to the ground, rolling down the narrow hill like a meatball. His momentum did not decrease, and he continued to roll down the hill. Thump, 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 thump. His shriveled body stumbled along the way, crashing into trees and rocks. Jiang Baiyu's eyelids twitched. "Don't worry, that old thing has thick skin." The glowing figure curled his lips. He did not even turn his head, allowing his master to roll down the hill and into the trench. In the sea, the sloppy old Taoist priest was not injured in the slightest. He was hugging a large rock, laughing drunkenly. Hee, I've caught him. Wine, my wine, this strange pair of master and disciple. Brother, what is your name? The glowing figure asked casually. Suyu rubbed his nose. How should I address you? Why did you appear on the island with that elder? The glowing figure had a sudden realization, rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. Ha ha, look at me. I am Gangdalii. I live on the island with my master, guarding the dragon abyss of the 9 underworld. Guarding the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds? Suyu was slightly surprised. I am Black Snow Devil King. Nice to meet you, brother. Suyu revealed a faint smile. Gangdalii opened his eyes wide. What? Black Snow Devil King? You believe in black snow? Damn it, no wonder I could not come up with a good name. So you were the one who gave me a good name. Suyu's mouth twitched. Most people would understand that Black Snow Devil King was just a title and not a real name. Black Snow Devil King, Black Snow Devil King. Yes, yes, yes. This name is good. I like it. Gangdalii patted Suyu's shoulder, his eyes glowing. I like people with good names. I recognize you as my friend. In the future, you will be my brother. Suyu's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This person was really strange. However, even though this person was a bit crude, he was a straightforward and magnanimous person. Suyu had a good impression of him. I am indebted to Brother Dalii for thinking so highly of me. You can just call me Black Snow. Gangdalii laughed. Haha, Brother Black Snow. In the future, if anyone makes things difficult for you, look for me. I will help you settle it. If I cannot, there is still my old master. There is nothing in the world that he cannot settle. All right, I shall not disturb Brother Black Snow's fun. Oh right. Gangdalii slapped his head. Look at me, I almost forgot. Whoosh, Gangdalii's body was like lightning, bringing Suyu to the foot of the island. There was an underground cave there, and a gust of warm energy was blowing out of the cave. Before entering the dragon abyss, enter this cave and wash yourself. That way, you will feel more comfortable in the dragon abyss. Suyu did not understand. Brother Dalii, this is? Gangdalii said, Hey, isn't this the dragon breath of the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds? In the deepest part of the dragon abyss, there is a demonic dragon suppressed. The entire dragon abyss is filled with gas. If an ordinary person enters, the dragon breath will easily seep into their body. Their stamina and spirit energy will be polluted. If you barge in recklessly, you will be choked back in half a day. Even a half-god could not avoid it. A demonic dragon needed a fairy realm fighter to guard it. What kind of terrifying cultivation level was that demonic dragon? This is the lair of a half-god demonic beast emperor. I roasted it and ate it. There is an earth vein hidden inside. After absorbing it, it will be beneficial to your body. Moreover, it can defend against the invasion of demonic energy from the outside. It can help you counteract the dragon breath of the demonic dragon. In the past, I used up half of the pool. There is still half left. You can have it. You do not need to be polite with me. The veins on Suyu's forehead twitched. A half-god demonic beast emperor had actually been roasted and eaten by this guy. But now was not the time to be surprised. There was a so-called dragon breath in the dragon abyss of the 9 underworld. Long Feiyu had never mentioned this before. Suyu was glad that he knew Gangdalii, even though the reason he had been treated as a friend was too strange. After thanking Gangdalii, Suyu entered the cave. The cave was not deep, but there was a powerful demonic beast emperor aura. At the end of the cave was a pool of blood-red water, quietly lying there. The warm energy it emitted made one's body feel extremely comfortable. Suyu took a light breath. At that moment, an extremely pure and warm energy entered his body. Thump, thump. Suyu was shocked to discover that after the icy heart core entered the warm energy, it became even stronger, pulsating vigorously. Every part of his body felt as if it had been injected with chicken blood, squirming continuously. And this was just a breath of air. This so-called earth vein, what exactly was this thing? What a frightening effect! Gang Dalei had casually mentioned it, and Suyu had not thought much of it. Who knew that it was such a frightening existence? Out of caution, Suyu used his pinky to poke a drop into his mouth. At that moment, Suyu's expression changed. It was clearly a warm liquid, but once it entered Suyu's body, it was like an endless raging flame, burning crazily. A burning sensation spread rapidly within his body. A crisis of imminent destruction descended upon him. Not good. He had been too careless. From Gang Dalei's point of view, something that was not even a drop could be fatal to the current Suyu. Suyu was anxious, but he forced himself to remain calm, thinking of a countermeasure. Suddenly, Suyu took out a jade box with a flip of his palm. It was an immortal herb that was completely ice-cold, and it exuded a fatal chill. Back then, when Suyu had swallowed a root the size of a strand of hair, he had nearly frozen to death. Since then, Suyu had not reached the level where he could refine it, and had kept it in his robes. Now, at this critical juncture, the only way Suyu could think of to save himself was this. Taking out the ice divine herb, Suyu plucked a root and placed it in his mouth. At that moment, a shocking cold energy entered his body, quickly freezing the raging flames in his body. Whoosh! Suyu released himself from the intense pain and heaved a long sigh. However, right after that, Suyu's face stiffened. The chilly energy was too strong. After suppressing the flames, it started to destroy Suyu's life force, turning his stomach into ice. How could this be? Suyu wanted to cry but had no tears. The energy of the cold ice divine herb was too strong, to the extent that Suyu could not control how much he used it. If he used too much, the cold energy would harm his body. No. You can't do this. Suyu hurriedly took out a drop of earth vein spiritual liquid, using the fire energy to neutralize the remaining cold energy in his abdomen. However, the power of the flames was too much, and Suyu had no choice but to continue consuming the divine herbs. As the cycle continued, Suyu's face darkened. He wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Just like that, Suyu experienced both pain and happiness, constantly mingling between the two worlds of ice and fire. One moment, his body was in extreme coldness, and the next moment, it was as if he was in a world-destroying flame. His body was constantly being cleansed by two extreme forces. An entire day passed. Over 90% of the spirit liquid in the pool had been forcefully drunk by Jiang Baiyu. A large portion of the immortal herb in his hand had also been eaten by Jiang Baiyu, leaving only 2 leaves. As for Suyu himself, he lay on the ground weakly, extremely exhausted. After a whole day and night of torture, Suyu was finally saved. Under the tempering of the two extreme forces, his body gradually changed, gradually adapting to the two extreme forces. Hence, the excessive power of the earth vein and the cold energy were no longer able to affect Suyu's body. Suyu heaved a long sigh of relief. Using his right hand to support himself on the ground, Suyu tried to stand up. Creak, however, a scene that shocked Suyu appeared. The stone surface beneath his palm had turned into ashes. Moreover, a small portion of it had turned into nothingness, just like the sloppy man. This. Suyu was shocked. He clenched his fists, casually clenching them. At once, a raging wave of energy exploded from his fists. Chapter 405. In just one day, his physical body had reached the level of a human king. This unexpected surprise made Suyu overjoyed. This meant that even if he were to face a human king, it would be extremely difficult for the other party to easily kill him. In fact, he still had the ability to retaliate. He believed that if he met Lord Shening again, it would be impossible for him to subdue him as easily as he did in the past. With such a physical body, the chances of Suyu returning alive from the dragon abyss were much higher. This was an extremely beneficial condition for him to break through to Heaven Master. It was also an opportunity for him to break through to the fairy realm. At that moment, in the sky above the island, two figures descended from the sky. One was handsome and confident. He held a folding fan in his hand, looking very elegant. His sovereign personage strength added to his charm. Whoosh! Long Feiyu. Beside Long Feiyu was an exquisite, petite, and adorable girl. Her eyes were big, like two embedded gems. She had a small nose that was perky and cute. Her rosy lips were exceptionally alluring. Her skin was fair and soft, like a newborn baby's. Her entire person was like a beautiful porcelain doll, extremely cute. Siener, don't be nervous, I'm here. Long Feiyu had a pleasant expression, his face full of smiles. The petite girl was the Siener that Suyu had not seen in a long time. Hearing this, Siener creased her nose, raising her brows. You did not have to come. Originally, the undead Phoenix Master had wanted to arrange for a female disciple, but Long Feiyu had insisted on escorting her. The undead Phoenix Master could not embarrass Long Feiyu, so she had no choice but to agree. Long Feiyu's smile was the same as before. Sister Siener, don't worry. I have been to the Dragon Abyss once and am familiar with the situation. I can help you obtain more Dragon Abyss fruits to break through to Heaven Master. Siener glared, her face serious. I am not familiar with you. Don't call me Siener. And don't call me sister. Saying this, she muttered, You haven't even called me brother Suyu. Long Feiyu was a little embarrassed, hurriedly laughing. Wait a moment, I will bring you to a place. There is an earth vein there. After absorbing it, it will be very beneficial for your movements in the Dragon Abyss. This is a secret that only I, a member of the Heavenly Law Alliance, know. I will not tell anyone else. Siener was a little curious. She asked in a childish voice, Since that's the case, why didn't you take all of him away? Why did you leave a part of him here? Aren't you afraid that someone will take it all away? Long Feiyu was embarrassed. Although Qin Siener looked petite and playful at times, she was not stupid. In fact, she was very quick-witted. Haha, you misunderstand. All the items on this island belong to the seniors guarding the Dragon Abyss. Because of my identity as a member of the Heavenly Law Alliance, those seniors only gave me 1 drop, and the effect was very good. This time, I will ask for 2 more drops. I believe that he will give me face. Siener couldn't refute this. Long Feiyu's father was one of the Heavenly Law Union's 4 half-gods. There were not many people in the continent who would not give him face. The 2 of them landed on the island and arrived at the entrance of the cave. Waves of warm energy assaulted them. Siener, wait here. I'll be right back. Long Feiyu was about to move when a figure suddenly walked out of the cave. Long Feiyu's expression changed. There were only 2 types of people who could stay in the Dragon Abyss. The first type was a trial taker. The second type, guardians. And there was only 1 type of person who knew of the existence of the cave. Senior, I trust you have been well. Suyu stored the rest of the spiritual liquid, not leaving a single drop behind. He was just about to walk out when someone called him Senior. Suyu was slightly stunned. Looking at the person, he realized that it was Long Feiyu. Yes, I trust you have been well, Long Feiyu, Suyu calmly said. Hearing that the voice and tone were not right, Long Feiyu lifted his head abruptly, his expression changing. It's you, Black Snow Devil King? Thinking back to how he had addressed Suyu as senior and bowed, Long Feiyu's expression turned green. What are you doing here? Do I need to report what I do to you? Suyu said with disdain, brushing past him. A whiff of warm, fragrant energy spread from Suyu's body. Long Feiyu's expression changed drastically. Wait, you dare steal the spiritual liquid of the Earth Meridian? How dare you? Suyu turned a deaf ear. It was as if he had been struck by lightning. He stood rooted to the ground, staring at the girl in front of him without blinking. Her facial features were exquisite and cute, like a fairy from the mountains. She had a pair of large eyes that could speak, glowing with a pure and intelligent light. Her body was petite and exquisite, like a fairy that would never grow up. Wasn't she the girl that Su Yu thought about every night, his fiancée, Qin Xianer? Compared to a year ago, Xianer had grown a little taller, her body had developed a little, and her youthful face had the youthfulness of a young girl. But this was the Xianer that he could never forget, the Xianer that he had been chasing. Even though his eyes were closed, his soul eyes could no longer move away from Xianer. He had unexpectedly met her on a day that he had never looked forward to. This joy, this surprise, this excitement could not be described with words. Xianer blinked her large eyes, looking curiously at the motionless figure in front of her. For some reason, seeing the red-haired bronze figure in front of her made Xianer's heart tremble. She felt a lump in her throat. In that instant, she felt as if she had seen Brother Su Yu. Meeting his tightly shut eyes, Xianer walked forward, tiptoed, and waved her small hand in front of his eyes. "Can't your eyes see?" Su Yu's voice was hoarse, and he said in a daze, "I'm already blind." Xianer retracted her hand, looking at Su Yu. Her large bright eyes were filled with sympathy. "You must be feeling terrible, unable to see the sun, unable to see the blue sky, and unable to see the person you love and respect." Su Yu's closed eyes were a little moist. She was still so innocent, so kind, and so heart-wrenching. "I still have a heart." Su Yu's voice was a little choked, and he resisted the urge to hug her and reunite with her. Reason told Su Yu that he could not abandon his identity as the Black Snow Devil King. He wanted to use this identity to establish himself in the Zhenlong continent and break through to the fairy realm. Once it was revealed that he was Su Yu and Yin Yu, what awaited him would be the Empire of Darkness's relentless pursuit. His revenge for Ling Xiaotian and the chance to save him would all be lost. Xianer's heart was moved. She lifted her head to look at Su Yu. She saw that the corners of his eyes were moist, and she could feel the sorrow in his heart. "Don't be sad. I believe that the person you love and respect can feel your heart." Xianer took out a handkerchief, tiptoed, and wiped away the tears at the corners of Su Yu's eyes. Long Feiyu stood at the side, his expression as gloomy as water. Qin Xianer, who had treated him coldly, was actually so warm and intimate with a stranger. "Xianer, leave him. His hands are stained with the blood of countless people. His name is forged from blood." Qin Xianer's gaze could not leave Su Yu's eyes. Her right hand clutched her chest, her bright eyes filled with doubt and sorrow. For some reason, Qin Xianer's chest ached when she looked at the Black Snow Devil King. Hearing Long Feiyu's words, Qin Xianer looked up at Su Yu, muttering, "A person with a heart is not an evil person." Long Feiyu was furious, his eyes shooting cold arrows toward Su Yu. "Black Snow Devil King, you killed the innocent and stole the treasures of others. You even dared to steal an elder's item in the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds. Today, I will enforce justice on behalf of heaven." Whoosh! Long Feiyu's murderous intent was biting cold, leaving behind a trail of afterimages. But, thump! A beam of light descended from the sky, accurately striking the afterimage. At once, with a pathetic cry, Long Feiyu was kicked into the mountain, creating a tunnel hundreds of feet deep. "Darn it! You dare attack in my territory? If I do not shatter your 18 ribs, I will not live up to my famous name." The beam of light was Gang Dalei. Pooh! In the tunnel, Long Feiyu, his clothes torn and battered, coughed up blood as he crawled out, his face filled with shock. Not only did he not feel any resentment, he even hurriedly ran over, bowing respectfully. "Greetings, Elder Gang." The half-god realm was a realm that Long Feiyu had not reached, even after working hard for a long time. Gang Dalei observed, realizing that the person in front of him was someone from the Heavenly Law Alliance who looked familiar. "So it's a birdman from the Heavenly Law Alliance." Long Feiyu had a wronged expression. "Elder Gang, this fellow stole your spiritual liquid secretly. After I discovered it, I immediately stopped him." But Elder Gang misunderstood. Facing Gang Dalei, Long Feiyu did not dare complain after being beaten. Instead, He smiled apologetically. This caused Sienna to crease her brows. Unexpectedly, Gang Dalei let out a laugh. What kind of birdman are you? Are you worthy of meddling in my business? Long Feiyu's face turned red, and he smiled apologetically. Elder, I really did not mean to attack you. This is a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding, my foot. Gang Dalei placed one hand on his waist, pointed at Long Feiyu's nose, and scolded him. I was the one who allowed my brother Black Snow to use the spiritual liquid as he pleased. Since when was it up to a birdman like you to meddle in my business? You still want to attack me? Count yourself lucky that I did not kick you to death just now. You still dare to complain? Brother Black Snow. Brother. Long Feiyu froze on the spot. The Black Snow Devil King was actually brothers with the half-god Gang Dalei? How was this possible? With Gang Dalei's explosive temper, who could be his brother? I'm sorry, Elder Gang. I was rash. Please forgive me. Gang Dalei snorted. Then why aren't you scramming? Long Feiyu's expression was a little stiff. Elder Gang, this time, I was ordered by my father and the undead Phoenix Master to bring Qin Sienna for training. Can I take 2 drops of spiritual liquid to guard against the dragon breath? Gang Dalei opened his mouth to scold him, but the words turned into dissatisfaction. Who is your father? What does he have to do with me? Do I, Gang Dalei, need to give him face? As for the undead Phoenix Master, on account of the friendship between my old man and her, you may go. Long Feiyu's face twitched. He was furious, but he had no choice but to lower his head. He turned to enter the cave, but what he saw in the pond made him dumbfounded. All the spiritual liquid was gone. Not only that, even the mud at the bottom of the pond had been dug away. Suyu had not even left a lump of mud for him. But what made Long Feiyu even more furious was that when he came out, the Black Snow Devil King had casually stuffed a small jade bottle into Qin Sienna's hands. Keep it for yourself, Suyu warned, subconsciously rubbing her head. Also, use this cold leaf. Remember not to be greedy, do you hear me? Sienna's body turned rigid, and she stood in her original position. Only one person would do such a thing to her. Looking at the Black Snow Devil King, Sienna felt as if she was facing Suyu. She could not help but nod her head. I would not secretly eat it, I would not, but a trace of mist flashed across her big bright eyes. Realizing that she had lost her composure, Sienna hurriedly lowered her head, jogging away. Thank you, she said without turning her head. In the wind, Suyu could faintly hear her sobs. Suyu's heart ached. They had met, but he had not acknowledged her. I'm sorry, Sienna. When I have my revenge, or when there is no one around, I will acknowledge you. Clenching his fists, Suyu took to the sky, once again stepping into the sky above the endless abyss. Chapter 406. Above the abyss, Suyu, Sienna, and Long Feiyu waited with rapt attention. Gang Dalei's voice was as loud as a bell. The dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds has been sealed. If you want to pass through the seal and enter, there is only one way. That is to use the dragon abyss of the 9 underworlds token in your hands and activate it with your blood essence. It will produce the power of space and teleport you inside. The dragon abyss fruits required to break through to Heaven Master are mainly found in the Messy Rocks ruins. I suggest that you don't leave this area, or you won't be able to return. Gang Dalei was naturally referring to Long Feiyu. It was rumored that less than 1 in 100 people could survive the dragon abyss of the 9 underworld. Most of them didn't listen to the advice and left the rubble ruins. They entered the dangerous area and met with mishaps. Long Feiyu's expression was calm. As confident as he was, he did not dare to take Gang Dalei's warning lightly. Elder Gang, with my abilities, I can only protect one person. There is no other way. Long Feiyu shot a glance at Suyu. To prevent Gang Dalei from forcing him to take care of Suyu, he had tactfully declined the offer. Suyu didn't even turn his head. Take care of yourself first. With Su Yu's abilities, as long as he didn't encounter any perverted dangers, he wouldn't be in any danger. On the other hand, he did not know if Xian Er's Phoenix of Death body would be able to deal with the dangers in the deep abyss. Humph! Do you need to worry about my brother? Both of you leave first. Gang Dalei waved his hands, leaving Su Yu behind. After the two of them left, Gang Dalei mysteriously took out a map and stuffed it into Su Yu's palm. Brother Black Snow, I can only help you this much. I wish you good luck. As soon as he finished speaking, the silhouette dissipated. Su Yu looked down and saw that it was a full picture of the abyss. The messy rocks ruins and the banished abyss. Su Yu discovered an extremely vast region on the map. On the map, the rubble ruins only occupied less than 1/10 of the area. However, there was an area called the Banished Abyss that was 9 times the size of the rubble ruins. From the looks of it, the so-called trial in the Dragon Abyss of the 9 underworlds was just a trial in a corner of the abyss. It couldn't even be considered as entering the abyss. What is this? Su Yu suddenly noticed a blood-red mark at the corner of the map. Dragon Lock Well. On the map, this place was only a very small dot, not even 1/10,000th of the abyss. However, it was located in the center of the map and seemed to have a very special meaning. With this map in hand, Su Yu would not be so unfamiliar with his current location. As Su Yu thanked her in his heart, he activated the token of the Dragon Abyss of the 9 underworlds and entered it. As soon as he entered, an astonishing turbid air assaulted his senses. An evil and corrosive energy seeped into Su Yu's body. The dragon breath of the demon dragon. Su Yu was slightly vigilant. Only when a gust of warm energy automatically dissolved the dragon breath that had entered his body did he feel slightly relieved. Even so, the amount of dragon breath that the earth vein spirit liquid can absorb is limited. I must leave within 3 days. Looking down, the abyss was unfathomably deep, like a bottomless pit. With vigilance, Su Yu carefully descended. Above the abyss, whoosh, they were a man and a woman. One was wearing a black cloak and had an elegant temperament. The other was wearing a red cloak and looked like an immortal from a painting. This is the Dragon Abyss. There is an evil energy inside that corrodes one's spiritual energy and stamina. We only have 1 day. Lord Qingzhu said, how many Dragon Abyss fruits we can find in a day is our good fortune. Xia Jingyu nodded slightly. I understand. With a flash of light, 2 figures fell into it. 2 hours later. Su Yu did not know how deep into the abyss he had entered. He only felt that the deeper he went, the darker it became. Luckily, the see-through ability of his soul eyes did not pose much of an obstacle. The ground. Su Yu penetrated through the clouds, suddenly sensing the existence of the ground. When he saw the ground clearly, Su Yu's pupils dilated. This is, being high up, Su Yu could clearly see an area. Beneath his feet, there was a 1,000-mile-long claw mark. Su Yu was shocked. 1,000-mile long? What kind of peerless, ferocious creature's claw mark was this? At the very bottom was a stretch of ruins. It was as if this place had once been a flourishing place that no one knew about, but had been destroyed by a ferocious creature. It was similar to the giant palm, but those were humans, while the one in front of him was an unknown creature. Filled with bewilderment, Su Yu floated above the ruins and looked around. The ruins were stacked together, and everything within a 100,000-mile radius was filled with rubble. All of a sudden, Su Yu's sharp eyes noticed that there was a small shrub growing on top of a collapsed building. It was dark black, and it looked very strange. But there was a purple fruit hanging on the branch. It was shaped like a dragon, extremely lifelike and lifelike. Could this be a Dragon Abyss fruit? Su Yu could not believe his luck. He had just descended and found a Dragon Abyss fruit. Pooh! But without waiting for Su Yu to act, a blurry figure pounced forward, using a pair of jade scissors to cut off the fruit, placing it in a jade box. Long Feiyu. Su Yu creased his brows. They had descended from the same spot, and hence were in the same area. Siener, I found it. Long Feiyu was a little happy. Siener's luck is very good. Back then, a group of 10 of us spent half a day to find the first dragon abyss fruit. You found one right after descending. Siener walked over, opening it to take a look. She raised her brows. Why is there only half left? Upon closer inspection, she realized that the dragon abyss fruit seemed to have been eaten by something. Only half was left. Long Feiyu chuckled and said, "The dragon abyss fruit is also an extremely rare spiritual fruit of the world for the creatures in the dragon abyss. It is very difficult to find a fragment. In the past, 9 out of 10 dragon abyss fruits found were incomplete." So that was the case. Siener understood, then carefully placed the fruit into her left pocket. Suyu felt that it was a pity that someone had gotten it before him. But Suyu did not resent Siener for it. At this moment, Long Feiyu could faintly sense that there was a human on the other side of the darkness. Black Snow Devil King? Realizing that it was him, Long Feiyu laughed. "It is a pity that Elder Gang, as a guard, could not come with you. With no one to help you, I want to see how many you can find." With his familiarity and understanding of the Messy Rock's ruins, Long Feiyu could naturally suppress Suyu in this aspect. Suyu did not reply, but slowly opened his soul eyes. The complicated and Messy Rock's ruins appeared three-dimensional in Suyu's eyes. Suddenly, Suyu's pupils dilated. He drifted to the ruins where Long Feiyu and Siener were standing. This place had once been a collapsed palace. The only dragon abyss fruit that had grown had already been plucked. "You have not given up?" Long Feiyu was shocked. He swept his gaze across the shrubs again, confirming that there was no second fruit. He mocked, "If there was, would it be your turn to snatch it?" But Suyu continued to fly. But he did not land on the top of the palace. Instead, he entered a crevice formed by the collapse of the palace. Long Feiyu's gaze flickered. He floated down and looked in the direction that Suyu had come from. His pupils dilated as he discovered that, in the deepest part of the crevice, there was a shrub that was half the height of a person. There were 2 dragon-shaped fruits hanging on it. Furthermore, they were in their most complete state. "Looks like my luck is not bad." Long Feiyu's eyes were filled with excitement. But a pair of 10,000 zhang wings suddenly appeared on Suyu's back. With a flap, Suyu shot into the deepest part of the crevice like an arrow released from a bow. "Stop!" Long Feiyu roared furiously. "If you touch it without a divine artifact, it will only turn this spiritual fruit into ashes." But his voice stopped abruptly, because Suyu had immediately taken out a small, broken jade shovel. He had scooped up the entire shrub along with the fruit. The broken divine artifact that he had obtained in the ancient Xianyan temple, the Cosmos Jade Shovel, had finally been put to use. The corners of Long Feiyu's mouth twitched. What a waste of a treasure! His eyes were gloomy and filled with murderous intent. Not only had Suyu disobeyed his warning and refined the short-distance wings that had been part of his congratulatory gift, he had also dared to snatch his item in front of everyone. In the past, Long Feiyu would have killed Suyu and turned him into ashes. But this was Gang Daliai's territory. He could not act rashly. Suyu turned and calmly ordered, "Move aside." The muscles in Long Feiyu's cheeks twitched, and he slowly moved aside. Suyu expressionlessly brushed past Long Feiyu, flying up to the palace and arriving in front of Siener. "One for you." Siener was overwhelmed by the favor. "For me." She knew how precious the dragon abyss fruit was. The Black Snow King had obtained 2 of them, but he had gifted one to her. Chapter 407. Biting her lips, Siener cut off a fruit and carefully placed it in the jade box. "Brother Black Snow, my name is Qin Siener. I want the dragon abyss fruit. It has an important use, so I'm sorry, but I will accept it. I will definitely repay you in the future." Siener clenched her small fists, her expression determined and serious. Suyu smiled lovingly. "Sure, I'll wait." Siener let out a huge and adorable smile, then placed the jade box in her right pocket. Su Yu asked, "Why don't you put the two dragon abyss fruits together?" Sienna raised her head and said mysteriously, "It's a secret." Long Feiyu saw this scene, his expression ugly. He was the one who had helped Sienna break through to Heaven Master, but Su Yu had beaten him to it. Black Snow Devil King, the dragon abyss fruit is not so easy to find. Your luck will not always be good. Sienna, let's go. Qin Sienna playfully stuck out her tongue at Su Yu. Goodbye, brother Black Snow. Waving his hands, Su Yu watched as the two of them left, then disappeared into the fog. Using his soul eyes, Su Yu searched 100 miles around him. 2 hours passed, but he had not found another fruit. It looked like they were extremely lucky to have found one the moment they descended. Suddenly, Su Yu discovered a dragon abyss fruit growing from a crack in the stone wall in front of him. Su Yu was about to go forward when a red figure flew toward him. She had a graceful figure and an elegant demeanor. Even though her face was covered by a layer of mist that even the soul eyes could not see through, she was definitely a beautiful lady. The lady had a joyous expression as she reached out to grab the dragon abyss fruit. But at that moment, Su Yu's expression changed. Stop! Su Yu let out a low grunt, his body piercing through the air, heading straight for the other party. The lady had not been on guard against the person behind her, and the other party was attacking her. Instinctively, she formed a water sword in her empty left hand and used it to kill the person attacking her. The water sword was clearly a hasty attack, but its power was as great as that of a Heaven Master. Su Yu was shocked. An Immortal Realm Level 4 peak could casually unleash such a powerful attack. It was incredible! Apart from the person in front of him, this was the first time he had met someone who could rival a Heaven Master at the Immortal Level 4 realm. However, it was as if Su Yu did not care about it at all, and he tried to grab his opponent's arm. The woman furiously drew her sword and slashed at his chest. Bang! Although the water sword struck, the palm did not feel the sensation it should have felt. Instead, the water sword shattered. What a powerful body! The woman's pupils constricted and her heart sank. Oh no! Seizing the opportunity, Su Yu grabbed her arm with one hand and pulled her toward his chest abruptly. The force was very strong and the speed was very fast. The woman's hand that was about to touch the dragon abyss fruit was forcefully pushed away. Her delicate body crashed into Su Yu's embrace. The woman was embarrassed and angry at the same time. However, a slight explosion resounded in his ears. Wisps of nauseating gas drifted over. Looking back, he saw a black and ferocious-looking little bug crawling out from the crack in the stone. A stream of air gushed out from the other party's pores and instantly melted the rock. The dragon abyss fruit was not spared. It turned into rotten meat and withered. This scene caused the woman to be at a loss. Suddenly, he grabbed her chest and pulled away, calmly saying, "This place is dangerous. Do not be careless." The woman's face turned red. The other party was not greedy for the dragon abyss fruit, nor was he trying to harm her. He had sensed danger and was trying to save her. Regaining her senses, the woman quickly caught up. Her tone was hurried and apologetic. "How's your chest?" Su Yu rubbed his chest and shook his head. "I'm fine. Apart from a little pain, it was not a big deal." The body of a human king was indeed frightening. Su Yu finally understood how insignificant a Heaven Master was in front of a human king. He also finally understood how lucky he was to be able to escape from Lord Shen Ying. The woman looked carefully. Indeed, it had only torn her clothes and was not a big deal. Just as she was heaving a sigh of relief, a figure flew over from the side. He wore a black cloak and was extremely elegant. What happened? Lord Qing Zhu was searching for the dragon abyss fruit on the other side and was attracted by the commotion. Xia Jingyu replied, "A very powerful poisonous insect. It was he who saved me." Him? Lord Qing Zhu sized up Su Yu, standing in front of Xia Jingyu. He cupped his fist. "I am Lord Qing Zhu of the Empire of Darkness. This is Lord Yu." May I know your name? It was suspicious to meet a stranger in the dangerous land of the Dragon Abyss. Yu. Su Yu's heart shook. Xia Jingyu had been recommended to the Empire of Darkness to participate in the selection of Lord Yu. The person in front of him was Yu? Su Yu stared at Lord Yu in shock. From her figure, she was a far cry from the Xia Jingyu of 3 years ago. At that time, Xia Jingyu had only been 14 years old. The person in front of him was a young lady of 17. Even though they were the same person, the difference was huge. But with a human king of the empire by his side, how could Su Yu take the initiative to ask? Exposing Su Yu's identity would be disastrous. Black Snow Devil King, Su Yu replied. Is there anything else? If not, farewell. Suppressing the urge to question Xia Jingyu, Su Yu decisively chose to leave. Wait, you are the Black Snow Devil King? Xia Jingyu and Lord Qingzhu were both shocked. The rumored Black Snow Devil King, who had massacred millions of miles of mountains and rivers? Xia Jingyu sized him up. His eyes were blind, but his senses were sharper than a normal person's. He had chased the Yu clan's young master for millions of miles without losing him. Thinking of his abilities as an immortal realm level 4 peak, the reason he had come here was obvious. Come with us. As you said, the Dragon Abyss is dangerous. It would be good to take care of each other, Xia Jingyu said, inviting Su Yu with goodwill. Su Yu froze. He had a bad impression of the 7 Lords of Darkness because of the incident with Ling Xiaotian. He did not expect Lord Yu to be someone who knew how to repay kindness. But before he could reject, Lord Qingzhu raised his brows, taking out a broken Dragon Abyss fruit. So it is the Black Snow Devil King who saved Yu. I have no way to repay you. Take this Dragon Abyss fruit as my thanks. Throwing it over, Lord Qingzhu took a step back. Yu, let's go. The Black Snow Devil King has his own way of surviving. Our worries are unnecessary. Although he said this, he secretly sent a message. Yu. You are still inexperienced and do not understand the dangers of the world. This Black Snow Devil King has massacred mountains and rivers. He is murderous and cannot be trusted. Aren't you asking for trouble by inviting him into the team? In his heart, Lord Qingzhu had another thought. It was enough for him to protect Yu alone. There was no need for a second man to appear. As for the trouble Su Yu would cause if he joined the team, he had never considered it. How could someone who was fighting so hard to become a heaven master cause trouble for a human king? In the blink of an eye, Su Yu would never be able to make a comeback. Su Yu was an expert at reading people's minds. He could clearly see the contempt in Lord Qingzhu's eyes. He had no intention of being with them. Furthermore, if he stayed, he would only be humiliating himself. Lord Qingzhu is right, Su Yu said. You just have to be careful. There is no need to worry about me. Goodbye. Su Yu cupped his fist. As for the broken Dragon Abyss fruit, Su Yu flicked it back. I am not interested in broken items. Lord Qingzhu, keep it for yourself. Su Yu did not even turn his head, leaving with a flash. After Su Yu left, Lord Qingzhu felt humiliated, grabbing the Dragon Abyss fruit. This person is too arrogant. How rare are the Dragon Abyss fruits? Pretending to be calm and stubborn about his pride is not wise. He will need to spend a lot of time to make up for the loss he suffered from this rejection, Lord Qingzhu evaluated. Unexpectedly, Xia Jingyu looked at him calmly. I do not think that a person with a complete Dragon Abyss fruit would reject a broken item out of pride. Lord Qingzhu's expression turned rigid. A complete Dragon Abyss fruit? Him? Xia Jingyu waved her hand, causing water vapor to gather from all directions. The remaining aura in the air also merged with the water vapor. Seeing this, Lord Qingzhu was embarrassed. I see. The other party had a complete item, but he had used a broken one to send a beggar away. Unexpectedly, in comparison, he was the beggar. Such an action was a complete disgrace. Also, Xia Jingyu calmly said, if this person wanted to harm me, he would have succeeded long ago. He is very powerful, and you might not be able to do anything to him. In other words, Lord Qingzhu was gauging the heart of a ruler with his own mean measure. Just now, when Su Yu had wanted to attack, Lord Qingzhu had rushed back. It was too late. Lord Qingzhu chuckled. Haha, is that so? Knowing that Lord Qingzhu was not convinced, Xia Jingyu did not bother to explain, continuing her search expressionlessly. Su Yu also chose a direction, focusing on finding the dragon abyss fruit. Chapter 408. Half a day later. Su Yu unfurled the map, a look of helplessness on his face. After half a day, I've only found 5 damaged dragon abyss fruits. Even with his soul eyes, it was still so difficult. This greatly exceeded Su Yu's expectations. According to the rumors, one needed to consume 100 dragon abyss fruits in succession to break through to Heaven Master. From the looks of it, this rumor was not true. If it was so difficult for him, how would it be for others? Being able to return empty-handed in a day was considered lucky. There had to be more to it than met the eye. Unfortunately, he had no background and was not well informed. Unfurling the map, Su Yu thought for a moment, then looked to the west. I've scanned the easternmost region, only the region near the banished abyss has not been explored. Even though it was dangerous to approach that area, Su Yu did not have much of a choice in the current situation. After all, including the travel time, it was only 3 days. With a thought, Su Yu prepared to leave. Suddenly, he saw a black ripple from the corner of his eyes. Su Yu looked over like lightning. Eh! Su Yu exclaimed in surprise, walking over quickly. There was a pool of stagnant water, 100 feet wide. The water in the pond was dark and calm without any ripples. Su Yu stood at the side of the pool, rubbing his chin. The abyss has been sealed for many years. There has never been any rain, so where did the water come from? Su Yu's gaze flickered, his soul eyes probing the bottom of the pool. Even though the water was dark, it was extremely clear, without any impurities. Creak, however, after 20 feet, Su Yu's soul energy was suddenly rebounded. Without hesitation, Su Yu retreated 100 meters, his eyes filled with shock. What is going on with this black pool? This was the first time his soul eyes had been forcefully rebounded. All of a sudden, Su Yu's pupils contracted, and his face lit up with joy. Beside the black pool, there was a plant as thick as a person's thigh. A purplish-black fruit hung from it. A complete dragon abyss fruit. Su Yu was surprised. But after scanning for a moment, his expression turned serious. This black pool is strange. Most of the dragon abyss fruits in the Messy Rocks ruins had been bitten to varying degrees. Only in extremely secretive places could a complete fruit be preserved. The dragon abyss fruit in front of him grew beside the empty pool, yet it had not been discovered by the ferocious creatures. There was definitely a danger in this black pool that even ferocious beasts were wary of. Thinking of this, Su Yu retreated even further. Staring at the dragon abyss fruit, Su Yu pondered quickly. If he had not lost his sight, he could have easily plucked it with space teleportation, but now, with a flicker of his eyes, Su Yu released his spiritual energy and formed a human figure outside his body. For the second-grade clone art, he could only rely on his clones. This avatar had already started cultivating the path of fire. Although there were only a few words in the fire attribute mythological fragment, after comprehending it, the avatar would naturally carry the power of fire. Hence, it looked faintly crimson. The clone bent down and crawled on the ground. Relying on the strength of its arms and waist, it crept toward the dragon abyss fruit like a hunting leopard. It looked like it was only 1,000 feet, but the avatar actually crawled for half a cup of tea's time. Finally, the clone arrived below the dragon abyss fruit. He held the universe jade shovel in one hand and stared at the pitch-black pond for a moment. Then, his right hand moved at lightning speed and dug out the entire plant. Then, together with the jade shovel, he threw it back. Su Yu was prepared. He took out a huge jade box and leaped into the air, accurately storing the plant within. He grabbed the jade box with one hand and the universe jade shovel with the other. He used the short-distance wings and escaped tens of thousands of feet in an instant. Walala, just as he was about to escape, a black wave rose from the black pool behind him, reaching a height of several thousand feet. Su Yu's avatar disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Where he had just stood, there was a long black shadow that swept past. The speed was too fast, far beyond human imagination. Su Yu felt a pain in his head. He knew that his avatar had been destroyed. Roar! Suddenly, a muffled and deafening roar came from the depths of the black water pool. It was as if Su Yu had angered a terrifying giant. Hearing the roar, Su Yu's body trembled. The spiritual energy in his body became sluggish and his blood froze. Having lost the support of the short-distance wings, he fell from the sky. He was 1,000 feet in the air. If he fell like that, wouldn't he be smashed into meat paste? Su Yu's expression changed. He covered his chest with both hands and balanced his legs. He adjusted his landing position and landed on his back. Thump! With a loud thud, Su Yu finally landed alive after tumbling a few times on the ground. Even though his clothes were torn, his blood was in turmoil, and his body was in pain, he was not injured. Su Yu looked at the black pond in fear, a chill running down his spine. Just what kind of living being existed in the black pond? He knew that he could fight if he met a human king. But the terror of that living being made Su Yu unable to think of a way to deal with it. Even a human king could not cause his spiritual energy to become sluggish and his blood to freeze with just a roar. The roar reverberated throughout the abyss, long and distant. The commotion is too great, I cannot stay here for long. Su Yu checked his injuries, immediately making up his mind. But just as he was about to move, two figures broke through the clouds, cautiously heading in his direction. Brother Black Snow, we meet again. Qin Xian'er's eyes lit up, smiling as she walked over. Long Feiyu was surprised, secretly observing his surroundings. His gaze finally fixed on Su Yu, sweeping his gaze across Su Yu's chest. Su Yu glanced at Xian'er. There was still a jade box in each of his pockets. In half a day, he did not obtain a single dragon abyss fruit. Looks like you didn't get anything either. After confirming that Su Yu did not have too many dragon abyss fruits on him, he frowned and sank into deep thought. He was pondering whether he should ask Su Yu about the terrifying roar that had just been heard. Shwar! The clouds surged, and from another direction, two figures subconsciously gathered. Lord Qingzhu, Lord Yu. The two of them immediately grew wary. After sizing him up, their gazes landed on Long Feiyu. The faintly discernible aura of a human sovereign made the two of them tremble slightly. Long Feiyu was also on his guard and was extremely careful. The great Lord of Darkness? Long Feiyu's pupils suddenly shrank as he looked at the symbol on their cloak. He cried out involuntarily. Lord Qingzhu secretly protected Xia Jingyu behind him. He squinted his eyes and asked, "You are?" If it was only Long Feiyu, he would not have to be so cautious. However, the Black Snow Devil King seemed to be with them. Heavenly Law Alliance, Long Feiyu. Lord Qingzhu muttered softly, feeling that the voice was familiar. He was shocked. The Heavenly Law Alliance's dragon family? Could it be the owner of that warship, the ancient dragon family? A shred of fear flashed in his eyes. As the great Lord of Darkness, he was very afraid of the dragon family. Long Feiyu wore a proud smile. That is correct. The two of them looked at each other for a moment. Lord Qingzhu smiled kindly. It is fate that we met Brother Long here. I am Qingzhu, and this is Yu. What happened just now? To cause such a huge commotion? Lord Qingzhu? Long Feiyu's eyelids twitched, a little fearful. He glanced at Su Yu and said, "When I arrived, he was already here." Black Snow Devil King? Qingzhu creased his brows. He did not have a good impression of Su Yu. His gaze passed over him, landing on the surface of the water, where the waves had yet to settle. Qingzhu glanced at Su Yu, not intending to question him. Brother Long, you must have gained a lot in the Dragon Abyss, Lord Qing-Zhu said casually, but his gaze was secretly examining Su Yu and Xiaojingyu. He had a relaxed smile, as if he had gained a lot. Long Feiyu asked, "Oh? Could Lord Qing-Zhu have gained a lot?" "Only average." Lord Qing-Zhu was a little hesitant. The two of them were testing each other. Only Qin Xianer did not notice the two of them testing each other. She raised her head and asked directly, "Brother Black Snow, how many did you find?" Su Yu smiled. A black light flashed in his robes, and 3 damaged Dragon Abyss fruits were sealed in a jade box. "This half was prepared for you." Su Yu stuffed it into Xianer's robes. Xianer was shocked, retreating hurriedly. "I cannot take any more of Brother Black Snow's Dragon Abyss fruits. You have to cultivate as well." She already felt bad accepting a complete Dragon Abyss fruit. Su Yu smiled tenderly, stuffing it into Xianer's robes. "Didn't you keep it for an important purpose?" Xianer was in a daze. She bit her lip and accepted it apologetically. "Brother Black Snow, I will definitely repay you in the future. These Dragon Abyss fruits are very important to me." "Who was not important to breaking through to Heaven Master?" Lord Qing-Zhu gasped, pretending to be calm and smiling. He could not help but look at Su Yu in a new light. "You found 6 more?" Long Feiyu's pupils dilated. Su Yu nodded slightly, walking toward the banished abyss. Lord Qing-Zhu hesitated for a moment, calling out unwillingly, "Brother Black Snow, please wait." Su Yu turned back to ask, "What is it?" Lord Qing-Zhu had a forced smile on his face. "Brother Black Snow, we just encountered a few Heaven Master ferocious beasts. I wonder if Brother Black Snow has encountered them before?" He had encountered them before, but he had sensed them beforehand and avoided them. "If you have something to say," Su Yu said with a smile. "Time is limited." Having his intentions exposed, Lord Qing-Zhu felt slightly awkward. "What I mean is that the Dragon Abyss of the 9 underworlds is dangerous and unpredictable. Even the messy rock ruins are dangerous. Why don't we, as people who are training, work together?" Long Feiyu's eyes flashed, but he did not speak. However, what was surprising was that Su Yu rejected him without thinking. "I am used to being alone and am not good at cooperating with others. If this is what Lord Qing-Zhu wants to discuss with me, I can only express my regret." Seeing Su Yu's attitude, Lord Qing-Zhu felt a little indignant. Under normal circumstances, why would he lower his voice? But Lord Qing-Zhu also understood that he had made Su Yu unhappy by hiding his identity. "Brother Black Snow, to tell you the truth, there is something strange about the Dragon Abyss of the 9 underworlds." Lord Qing-Zhu let out a bitter laugh. "According to the information I have, even though the Dragon Abyss fruits in the Messy Rocks ruins are rare, it should not be like this." Long Feiyu's eyes flashed, nodding to himself. As expected, they did not have any Dragon Abyss fruits.